We also had.
So we had.
What else do we have?
I got a big cookie cake from
Oh,
Great
yeah, that's
American,
right.
which went over very well. And then your sister brought brownie bites, which I didn't have any of those, and she brought like a pumpkin cake roll thing.
Yeah.
And then we had, you know, Jello shots, vodka, tequila, rum, all that good stuff.
It was fun. What's up, Psycho?
Hey, Psycho.
Hey.
What's up, man? You up
Happy
for
New
some?
Year.
You up for some Warzone, bro?
Yeah.
Nice. We'll finish this
Yay.
match and then get you in here.
Okay.
How are you? Did you have a good New Year, bro?
Yeah, I just sat at home, did nothing all day. So, fun.
Sweet. It can't beat that sometimes.
Well, I've been sick, so it's been all I've been doing.
That's true. You feeling any better?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Shout out to a Jigga J. Mav ate. I didn't eat 30 nuggets. No, I had maybe like I had like maybe 5 of the nuggets. I noticed Joe had a tray of like 10 nuggets for himself. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't.
But
there was also tamales.
Oh yeah, we had tamales too. Yeah, can't forget that. Yeah, we had a fucking feast. It was great. And we kind of do what we always do when we have family get-togethers. Like all the adults just kind of like sit around the kitchen table and we all just like shoot the shit and laugh. And sometimes we play games, but we can't. Sometimes we don't shut up, so like it's hard to play.
Yeah, exactly.
Where the fuck did the stairwell go? Can't find the stairwell.
I've never been to this area. Ooh, I got a large backpack.
There it is.
Ooh, I got a. Do you want this? 5-piece.
Oh my god, yes.
Assault rifle.
5-piece nugget. Yeah, yes. The answer is yes, Psycho. Yeah, I want that, baby. I'm coming.
Oh, there's also a precision airstrike, and I already have one.
Sweet.
Or what is it that I have? I have a mortar strike. Is that the same thing? Or no?
No, but I'll take this. Thanks. All right.
I like this area.
Yeah, I need to get back in. I didn't loot the second floor of this building at all.
Oh fuck.
Sup, Jason?
Black sites. Black key sites or whatever it's called.
Yeah, Happy New Year's to all of you.
Yes. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Merry Chrysler.
Yeah, it's been a while for the next holiday now. What's the next holiday? Like St. Patrick's Day, I guess, technically?
Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day, yes.
Of course you forget about the Love Day.
You meant like that holidays that weren't made up by Hallmark.
Good point.
Shut up.
What?
Why'd you say good point?
It's the smartest thing I've ever heard seconds.
Wow.
Yeah, that was kind of insulting.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding, bro. No, yeah, I like Valentine's Day.
I hate it.
Do you hate Valentine's Day?
Yeah, because like it never feels like it.
Oh, babe, come on.
I'm just trying to get you back.
How?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm playing Hardpoint and Shipment.
Oh, right on. Fuck, I always lose
You
this.
know how that goes.
Yeah. Okay, there it is. Jason says women buy him stuff on Valentine's Day. Right on. Martin Luther King Day. Thanks, Jasper. Yes.
Wow.
That is the next holiday. Yeah, that is that's a day off of school and stuff for the kids too.
Yep.
So there's Martin Luther King Day, then there's Valentine's Day, then Easter is after that probably, or then St. Patrick's Day, then Easter, right?
Yeah, my Easter is different though.
Your Easter's different. Like you have a Greek Easter.
Yeah. It's like I want to say it's like 2 weeks after. I call it American Easter.
Right. Do y'all have like a Easter bunny in Greek culture?
No.
Who delivers the Easter baskets to the children?
The Greek grandmothers.
President's Day is in February, Jasper says. Right on. Okay, so I missed that one too. I'm missing a lot of holidays, I guess.
Well, we don't work for the fucking government, Jasper, so those holidays don't count.
What's up, chat? Just saying hi. Pong stuck in traffic. Got this stream from the other day, just rolling up here for you guys to get the stream going while we're waiting. And hope you're all having an awesome day. Thanks for tuning in to this. Can't wait to have an awesome PM in the PM here coming up. You guys all rock. And man, it's gonna be a fun year for the channel. I'm wondering how much traffic Pong's got left. We're probably looking at 6:30 or 7:30 Eastern or so. No, that gameplay is not live. It's from our stream the other day.
There's more than one. There's more than one. There's more than one.
Are you down? But if you haven't seen it before, it could be live for you, right? Same difference. Fucking hell. What I should have put is the gameplay from me and Kate the other day because we were doing pretty good. But this one is this is from a couple days before that.
You think Xbox will release a game before Easter? I would.
You know what? I think we got a win with Jasper when he joined.
March something.
That is in April.
Is it?
Yeah, I think it's in April every year, isn't it?
No.
Yeah. No. I don't know.
When is
Apparently, I don't know.
What day is Easter, guys?
It's usually March, April. Well, okay, I take that back because I'm thinking my Easter. My Easter changes every year. It's either in April or March.
I got one of them. Fuck, the other one got me.
Y'all thought this was live? My bad.
Yeah.
Sliver of health left. Age 2 is in January, so yes, that's technically true. They will. You want to hit this loadout drop right here, babe?
Yes. Let's go.
What's up, Invader? What's up, Vik The CLiCK? How's it going, 3-bit? What's up, Tony Grasso? Talos Ray? Polly Baba? Dark Zone? 2525 Masshole 1977. How's it going? Alvin? Marlesco? What up, what up? RSJ fan? Luis Jimenez? How's it going? It's already on the ground. Razor and Z. Man, awesome people here. Dova 360. Siki. Yeah, I already got it. Andrew Colinane. There's gonna be guys Bean. The Tarquin Burn. How's it going?
Going through this building.
Camp Easy, what up?
Following you, actually.
Okay. Def Leopard, how's it going, dude? RSJ says, I knew it wasn't live because she watched some of it the other day.
Shut those doors. I had so much money. Was that you?
What? Nah, Minnesota, Vic. Minnesota. I hear. He's stuck in that, like, 5 feet of snow. Maybe it was yours. April 9th is Easter this year?
Well, I was pretty much right.
Yeah, I think they'll have maybe... I mean, there should be, like... There was a Sony PSVR presentation, Sappho? I think hit, but also... Oh, fuck! Fucking hell. He was just crouched up there.
Yeah, he was.
Y'all can see how trash I am at Warzone. I mean, they'll have some Game Pass games hit, too. There's some big ones before then, also. Just M in the PM tonight? No, well, Pongo get here. Hopefully he brought his bobsled with him. That would be amazing. In the trunk of his car, because he may have to bobsled the way home.
One thing in the DMs, I was thinking, because we got Redfall pushed forward till May, and then rumors of possibly Hellblade 2.
50 people in this town.
Holidays.
Pong's from a town like in those Hallmark movies.
A Starfield next to Hellblade, 'cause that game's they've been working on it, so I don't think they will push it in between a May and September time, because then that breaks their promise of these games coming out before.
Yeah, like a Hallmark movie plot. Pong used to be a big CEO executive at a Christmas tree or Christmas store company, and he was sent to close the local store in the small town that in Minnesota. And when he got to Minnesota, he was like, "Oh, he fell in love with the people." And he couldn't bring himself to close the Christmas store in the small town that everybody in the town worked. Hey, babe, worked for the Christmas store. And he was like, wow, everybody here's going to be out of job. But he ended up loving it and saving the Christmas store. And then now he just lived there. Now he just decided to move there. And he owns a hot chocolate shop in Minnesota. Yeah. Kevin Baldwin says, here's my Xbox hot take for 2023. Microsoft makes more purchases after ABK goes through, buys Crytek and begins work on Rise 2. Also, they buy Eidos and Crystal Dynamics, Embracer holding them for Microsoft. We'll see. It's going to be an interesting year. It's not unrealistic to think how many games there are, because if you count H2, H4, and Ghostwire Tokyo, that's 3 already, right? Minecraft Legends 4, Redfall, Forza, Starfield, that's 7, right? Yeah. If Aura ends up coming out on the consoles, that would make 8, but it's coming 10 first-party Xbox games this year, I'm calling it. That's 8 that are pretty much a given, unless Aura gets delayed, right? So I think all of the other 7 are pretty damn safe. And yes, all we would need is 2 second half games beyond those. So you could do like the Tango Gameworks smaller game. You could do like Saphos' hot take 2023. Microsoft saves Square Enix, makes them an arm of their mobile platform. There's like 100 different. That would be crazy. What's everybody's hot take for 2023 for gaming or for Xbox? Piss on Square. We're gonna have Starfield discussion when Pong gets here. We're just hanging out. Honestly, this is partly because I didn't feel like remaking the whole event for the show. A hot take would be like something that is very unlikely, or that you like think's gonna happen, but it's like, okay, that's like majority of people would disagree, right? That's what I think a hot take is. Am I dubbing myself? I could like silence it and then replace my words on the screen. Psycho's rambling here though, so I can't dub Psycho.
So they said they had.
Psycho gets on these like chill rambles, you know? He gets into chill zen mode. He like rambles for like 30 minutes.
For Ghostwire.
And that also doesn't count like exclusive games. Thanks for sharing our Manscaped code 3-bit. 20% off manscaped.com plus free shipping with promo code Fun Speculation. We'll have an ad read during the show. Starfield 122-23? Wow. Okay. I mean, it's gonna be a fucking insane. Won't happen, but you like, how about 323-23? Todd likes fun numbers. April 1st, 23, that could work. Atomic Heart does look cool, Talos. Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking, Dave.
They're majority of the games are
3, 2, 1, 2, 3. That could work too. That's interesting, Dave. So you could pick either one of those dates from that week. That either one of those would work. Jasper says 5, 5, 2, 3. Why? Because 2, 3 adds up to 5. So you're that 5, 5, 2, 3. That could work too. That's a fun one. Forza Motorsport, Redfall, Minecraft Legends, GoldenEye, Starfield, H2, H4, Aura, and Ghost Spark. That's 9. That are
yeah. Well,
3, 2, 1, 2, 3 sounds better than 3, 2, 3, 2, 3.
subtweet that has another 6 games.
This guy says Nintendo averages 1 first-party game per month. I guess if you count like, yeah. Like I'm trying to think of another clever date. I can't.
It's Mario fucking waffle maker simulator.
Jay says I wouldn't be surprised if Starfield gets pushed back to November or September. Well, we'll talk about that on the show, but there's reason to believe that it is cemented in stone now for the first half.
Yeah, because he had I think he listed 16 games coming out in Game Pass. Because there was a secondary tweet.
It looks like it's going to be a fun first half for Xbox. Question is, what do they have for the second half of the year?
All right. Happy New Year, broski.
What do they got from July to December?
Happy New Year. When would you
I tagged it.
Where?
Oh, the truck over there. Okay, I see it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You want to not be a little bitch, Jasper, and join us for some Warzone?
I mean, I can do that, I guess.
Nice. We'll finish this game and then we'll get you in the next one.
Yeah, you're good.
We'll have a full squad and we'll have a sweaty. I know we won one of these games. I'm not sure which one it was. 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's okay. It's not as fun.
So they brought back the third person thing?
The only fun thing about that one, Jasper, is in January. I'll take it. Bold prediction, Finite Rich says, is Starfield will not release this year. Fair enough. That's very bold.
When you all died that first time, there was 3 people. You killed 1, and there was 2 that rushed you in the building. So I was like, oh, I bet they were in trios. So unless they teamed up with someone.
They might have teamed up with someone because I know it was on duos. I was wondering how that happened because unless it was another squad.
I don't think so.
Well, I had the did that drill charge I threw out there finish him off, Jasper? Do you remember?
Yeah, you killed a guy with the drill charge. That's why I was like,
I think the summer months are going to be quiet, maybe with Game Pass deals for July and August. I didn't notice the kill thing pop up, so I was wondering if maybe he got picked up, but maybe. I think it'll be
Fuck. Oh shit.
I think it'll be pretty busy around that time. Maybe Forza launches around then.
Like back at these little buildings.
They're pretty close. The trailer's pretty awesome, Dave.
Well, I want to.
What's up, Luis Jose? How's it going? I'm too far. It's too far away to do anything. To get to you. At this point, you'll take any date that doesn't get delayed. I don't think we're going to get another date until they're 100% confident. But I think they're confident on whatever date they're going to have, and I don't think it's going to be very far away. Ooh. For what show, 3-bit? Are you confirming a show, 3-bit? I hate this third person shit. Do we think we'll have intelligent alien races in Starfield? I think so. But I think it's going to be like a big twist or something dramatic happen. Like, I don't know. I look at what they did in like in the Elder Scrolls games, where you have all these different like species of people like creatures. You know, you have like the Khajiit, and you have the so what is it, the Aragonians? I forget what are the lizard people. But you know, you have like all these races and stuff and species, and like and then in Fallout they have like the zombie people, right, that are like mutated. So I think they like to do stuff like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if there was something like that. It would kind of be their MO, but they are going with a realistic approach for Starfield. So if there is intelligent alien life, they would do it in a very like realistic way, I think. Whatever that means.
Keep moving. There he is. He's right there, Psycho.
E3 is going to be interesting. For the next Microsoft show, 3-bit. Yeah, we need 2 release dates. We need the first 2 games that are releasing out of the first 6 months. If you got something closer to E3 launching, like maybe a Forza would launch later around that time, then at that point maybe you can hold off on that release date until you're more concrete on it. But maybe a little bit of gameplay from that. And Redfall and Starfield, I think, are ready for release dates. Go ahead and get those release dates out. More gameplay from each. I would like them to talk a little bit about the content in the games a little bit more. Now, I want 1 new game reveal and a potential just kind of update on the progress at some of the studios. Things like Fable. You know, I don't expect a lot. I don't want a lot. I just like... There's a lot of false narratives out there that I think need silencing. Yeah, Vampire Zombie says, as Aaron Greenberg said after the Game Awards, timing is key for what they show next. Yeah, timing is key. What does that mean? Does that mean that they're going to have a shadow drop at the next show, potentially? Pong is shoveling his way home as we speak. Yeah. That's the jailer. I'm trying to fucking find the other guy.
He's back where I died. For whatever reason, my
Fucking hell.
plane 155th.
You know, there's people out there playing Starfield right now. It's driving me crazy. We'll do way better this round with Jasper. Perfect Dark Story trailer during Xbox January event. That would be sick. I don't think we're gonna get that though. All right, mail. Or is it not mail? 3323 makes more sense on a global launch, maybe.
Is there crossplay with?
Yeah, June would be a placeholder. Yeah. It's actually forced. So you're crossplay with PlayStation, PC, everything. Yeah, he had Pong DM me saying he's stuck in traffic, so it'd be closer to 7:30, 6:30 our time. But knowing that, I didn't want to remake this whole event, and they time out with the key that I have. So that's why you're getting this gameplay. But since I'm sitting here and streaming you this gameplay, why not
Jasper looks like he's like some fucking Halo.
why not shoot the shit a little bit, right?
It's Infinite Warfare scheme.
Wish.com.
Microsoft is waiting to start concession talks with regulators before they feel good enough to get things rolling.
True Spartan helmet.
I think those talks are going on right now. I think that's why there's a delay. I think they're deep into those discussions, and that's why they alluded to that at the... We'll get into that on the show. How's everyone's 2023 going so far? Is it feel any different than 2022? Been playing Witcher 3 3-bit? 2023 feels more adulty. In 2023, 3-bit finally became an adult. It's about time, 3-bit. Oh, we got like a Pong Soul just walked in the house, everybody.
Here we go.
What a shitty circle. Maybe we should like go around the hot feed port, you know, so that way we're kind of close to it, but like not in it.
Yo, Kate got me up. Thanks, Kate.
Oh shit. Oh, I grabbed the wrong soda off my desk. Oh fuck, I just took a sip of day old or at least one day old soda. Blech. Damn it, Mav, throw your cans away. B-Rex Media says, I saw in gaming leaks and rumors that Starfield could potentially be delayed into holiday 2023 because they're having trouble getting it to 60 frames per second on a Series S. That is baloney.
Did we jump yet?
May not be 60 frames per second on any console, for all we know, though.
Yeah.
Hope it is. Yo, what's up, Camp Easy?
We're going outside of the ring. So let's go.
You know, Todd and his 30 frames.
We got.
Yeah, there's another squad here. They're going for the
2 squads.
It looks like they're going for the boat. Is Siki for that? Like, I don't know, like if that's necessarily a hardware thing there. Like, I think that's more of a Todd thing, which I disagree with. I think he could prioritize that. But he's stated a lot of times how he just prefers like a lot of stuff in the game over frame rate. Like he's specifically said he likes 30 frames at times, and I think he would rather not sacrifice stuff in the game to hit the 30 frames or to hit 60. Now, they may not have to, but it comes with like the processes that they use and to make the game and all the optimization and decisions they make along the way. And I honestly, I feel like fidelity or at least performance is like on a back burner for them as far as priorities go, which I don't really disagree. Which I don't really agree with, but that's just his MO. Yeah, I hate 30 frames. But Starfield is going to be taxing on anything. I hope we get a performance mode at 1080, 60 even. Like I'm fine with that. Like scalable resolution, whatever you got to do. And Mike says, lucky that can I grabbed wasn't the Wiz can. Yeah, I don't have a Wiz can in here. I don't keep a can that I piss in at my desk. I mean, any narratives about Starfield and if that happens, if there's not a 60 frames mode, yes, it will. People will use that as a talking point, especially like console warriors and shit. But I think when Forza Motorsport comes out and these other games come out, and insane performance and graphics and stuff. It's like it's gonna be right back in their face. Because there ain't gonna be any racing game that looks like Forza. Twitter will be nuts. I will be disappointed. Oh. Well, everybody.
Well, bloody well. From what everybody, or from what Mav tells me, everybody can hear us right now. So
Yeah. What's up, man?
it's PM in the PM, everybody. It is one heck of a night. Woo! We got 14 inches of snow over the past 2 days, which has caused a lot of problems. I had to work from home for 2 days. I had to get in the office today for sure, which obviously is not the best because traffic-wise, it still sucks out there.
Yeah, I did.
Compared to,
I was wondering if you're
Tuesday
gonna
and Wednesday.
bobsled on the way home.
Yeah, no, I could have. It's one of those. I mean, again, it is Minnesota, so snowmobiling is everywhere. If I had a snowmobile, probably would have been faster.
Wow.
That's for damn sure. Yeah. So apologize for being late tonight again. This is what happens, but yeah, it's been crazy up here. Again, we weren't supposed to get 14 inches. We were expecting 6 to 10 and wound up with 14 total. And boy, oh boy, talk about, I haven't seen this much snow in one shot in a long time. So pretty crazy. But Mav, it is PM in the PM. It is Pong and Mav in the PM. It is Thursday. We are back for 2023, a brand new year, kicking things off right. As you guys can see from the thumbnail, no, we don't have huge Starfield news, but we do have Starfield news, which is always fun to talk about. And we've got some other things going on. Obviously, Sony at CES yesterday, last night, if you guys watched the live stream, actually got an appearance from the one and only Jim Ryan, actually up on stage. He couldn't show up for the Game Awards, but he certainly showed up for CES. So that was fun to see. And we got a couple of other smaller topics too, as well, to jump into. But I hope everybody's doing awesome. And I hope your New Year's is starting off right. Quick shout out to the Hogue family. If you guys haven't been following along, obviously Hogue Law, Richard Hogue, great member of this community. He is also a member of the true crime community, which my wife hangs out in. So he is just an awesome guy, and he has provided us a ton of invaluable information outside of just being genuinely a good human being. He has been going through a medical emergency. His wife has been keeping everybody up to date on Twitter, along with some of his friends. He seems to be making progress and doing well. We lost Ken Block, the legendary drifter, Hoonigan himself, creator of DC Shoes. I mean, the guy, if you were into cars, if you are into rally racing, if you are into drifting, if you're into extreme racing, you all know Ken Block. He was a legend, somebody I watched a gazillion times, and we lost him. We had the Jeremy Renner situation.
Yeah.
Wow.
Situation in the NFL too with DeVar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin.
DeMar Hamlin. Yeah.
Yeah. DeMar Hamlin, who seems to be on his way back as well. Jeremy Renner has been giving updates from the hospital, which went from he got his legs crushed to, in fact, his entire body got run over by this snowcat, and he crushed his chest and everything else, but he's been giving updates. So, man, a lot going on in 2023. So my original thought was, I hope everybody else's 2023 is doing absolutely fantastic. Continued prayers, energy, and healing for Hogue as he goes through this. It's going to be a long road, as strokes often are. He's going to have to go through rehab, depending on where he's at. But again, continued thoughts and prayers. But I hope everybody else's 2023 has been beautiful. Mine has been crazy busy. Obviously, again, snowstorm to start the year off. It is what it is. It's Minnesota. It's my favorite. Mav, how has your 2023 been, brother?
Man, we didn't even get to say hello before we started the show, which is usually have like at least like 3 or 4 minutes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm,
but we're kind of doing a little different right here. Rolling right into it. Hey,
good to see you, brother. Bro? Missed you. Missed you, bro.
You too, man. Been pretty good. Been busy as hell. You know. Kiddos started school again this week. So been back at that for a couple days now. Going good. Working. Just trying to work as much as possible. And
good.
Just gotta work, man. I mean, other than that, haven't had a whole lot of time to play games. Been playing a little bit of Warzone with Kate. Played Midnight Suns here and there. But that's been about it recently for gaming. But yeah, it's I've caught a lot of good shows and stuff recently. I've been kind of like in this like show and movie mode.
Yeah.
Mainly a movie mode. I actually got sucked into like randomly, I don't know why, watching a bunch of World War II like foreign movies.
Bro, nice.
Yes.
Nice.
And it's
I'm
been
a World War II buff. I've seen a lot of them.
And there's actually a lot of good ones on Netflix. Like
Cool.
and, like there was one I watched recently, All Quiet on the Western Front, which is awesome.
Yes. Freaking amazing, bro.
I watched another one like The Forgotten Battle. Then I watched another one called Bombardment. Man,
I don't recognize
that one was like wow. That one's
Have you
like
seen Bridge Too Far?
I don't think so. I need to go.
You got to see A Bridge Too Far. Oh,
yeah,
amazing. Sean Connery's in it. I mean, there's a whole host.
I also
the cast were ridiculous.
I rewatched Hunt for Red October recently. Speaking of Sean Connery, fucking amazing.
Beautiful.
I was in the kick for that because I love Jack Ryan.
Only.
Also,
oh god.
Yeah, dude, it's so good, man. God, that movie holds up so well.
It does. It does.
But yeah, I've been in a movie kick more than anything. Like I don't know, just
that's cool, man.
You know, I'm a movie buff, and I like I like all forms of entertainment. But yeah, gaming wise, just Midnight Suns and Warzone. That's it.
Nice.
Since last time we've had a show, which was we had a show last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we had a show last week. Yeah, we did our wild predictions last week.
Our schedule's so messed up right now.
I know,
I didn't get to have FSP again on Monday, so like everything's so scattered right now. But I'm glad that you're here, Pong, and I'm glad that this chat is here. We were just shooting the shit a little bit for a while we're watching some Warzone gameplay.
That's nice.
And
I thought maybe you just started the whole show and got through the topics. And
no,
we were just gonna do outros when I got here.
No, I just put up one of the streams from earlier this or last week, maybe earlier this week. One of the two.
Awesome.
And just shot the shit for a little bit. We got 77 people here hanging out though, waiting for the show to start. I mean, it's absolutely awesome. So appreciate everybody being here.
Absolutely. We got over 70 people already, it looks like. So amazing. This week for me, with the holidays and everything, I've still gotten some game playing in, but like you, Mav, it's funny how we're connected so much.
Yeah.
I've been on a little movie kick, and you know, for me, that's rare.
That
I
is
go
rare.
Through stretches, right? But I have been on a little movie kick again, especially to end my nights. So I'm a nostalgia guy, so new movies don't capture me. So I go back to old ones that I've seen.
Yeah.
And I watch old stuff, and I'll watch 80s cheesy movies. I'll watch 90s just classic action flicks. They don't bother me, even if they don't hold up. I still enjoy them. So let's see. I did watch The New Mutants, which
what did you think of that? Like that was the one with that took place in the school?
In the school.
Right.
Wow.
School, yeah.
It's a hospital. It's a hospital, basically locked down. I liked it because it was different from Marvel films. Now that I know, I read up on the making of it, right? Well, number one, it helps because Midnight Suns, Magic, she's in that.
Yeah.
That's what's her face?
It's a Russian girl or
Yeah. But what's the actress's name? She's famous now. She's been in everything. God dang it. Why can't I think of her name?
I can look it up. Hold on. Yeah.
Look it up. Look, it's what's her face. Why can't I think of it off the top? Because I don't watch current stuff. So a lot of times the actresses or the actors, their names slip my mind all the time. She's huge now. She's absolutely huge. Anyways, she plays Magic. So now that I have some of Magic's backstory from Midnight Suns, and she's one of my favorite characters in Midnight Suns, that helped this movie. I also went back and read how this movie got made because it went through the turmoil of the whole Fox transition and all that kind of stuff. It was going to be made. It wasn't going to be made. It was actually supposed to be a Breakfast Club style movie set in the 80s with the New Mutants, which would have been freaking amazing, but they changed all that. And the director was Chris. What's his name? Is it Chris? I think it's Chris.
Yeah.
Was in a fight with the studio over getting this movie made, and they made him do changes to the humor. They made him do all this stuff. Anyways, all that being said, because the movie is different from how Marvel movies are made, I actually enjoyed it. I saw what they could have done with it and how good it could have been. But for a low budget superhero film, they didn't have the Marvel budget, right? They didn't get that. This was a low. They did a fantastic job, and I actually enjoyed it.
That movie got shit on a lot when it came out, and I think it's just because a lot of people were just over the X-Men formula. They knew that it was over with for Fox also, and it was kind of like it came out after like the acquisition from Disney, but it was like this one last X-Men film everybody was so down on the last X-Men movie, so it was kind of like, okay, what is this thing? And just people just shit on it without giving it a chance. I actually really liked it. It was a very good standalone thing for me.
Correct.
Yeah, and the chat's telling us Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yes. Thank you. God.
Yeah.
Again, she's huge now.
Yeah, she was great in that movie.
She was fantastic, bro. As Magic, and again, Midnight Sun's portrayal of Magic is very similar to her character in this movie. So for me, that helped out. So I watched that. What else did I go back to? I went back to Dracula 2000.
Oh wow.
Wes Craven.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Unbelievable to go back and to watch these again. People nowadays, if you're younger and you didn't grow up, you look at these movies and go, this was not good. But because we grew up at that time, I saw that movie in the theater, right? I saw the movie in the theater. So for me, it's still got something. Gerard Butler I didn't even remember that he's
Butler's
the vampire.
in that?
Yes, he's the vampire.
Wow.
He is so young, it does not even look like him.
You know, he was the
hair,
Phantom in Phantom of the Opera and that movie too?
No, I did not know that.
He was the Phantom in that the retold like Phantom of the Opera movie that came out around the 2000s. God. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, dude, fucking crazy, right?
That is freaking nuts. Oh my God. And then my last one, I've actually been on a Vietnam movie kick lately, Mav. So I went back to Hamburger Hill and I rewatched Hamburger Hill, which is absolutely a freaking ridiculously good emotional Vietnam movie. Game-wise, let's get back on the games because that's what PM and the PM is about. This is not Fun Pop. Game-wise, I have been into, Midnight Suns here and there. Again, I'll get back into it again, but I'm in my grazer mode right now, so I grazed out of it, but I'll come back to it for sure. I got too many hours. I'm too connected to it. I love that game. But I did purchase, Mav, and I let you know this last week, Spellforce 3 Reforced. This was a game I had my eye on since I first saw it, first heard about it. It's been on PC. It's been a franchise that's been on PC for a while. It is a combination RPG and RTS. And I gotta tell you, man, I told you I'd let you know how I feel about it. I'm probably 10, 12 hours into it. I think you would love this game. It is not AAA. Again, this isn't a AAA. This is published by THQ Nordic. It is a AA game, but it's a PC transport. You can tell that. Transplant, I should say. It's a PC transplant, but they did a good job with the controls. It takes a little bit of time. There's some things I would have done a little differently, but I'm fine with it. I learned it, and it works. But the RPG elements, this has got Dragon Age in it. This has got Dragon Age to it. This has got old BioWare stuff in it, along with the RTS edition. I got to say it works, Matt. It really does work. I'm loving the story. Characters are really good. Acting, hit or miss, as with most AA. Some of it's really, really good, and then some of it's like, okay, that was okay. You should have casted somebody else. But overall, Spellforce 3 for being a combo platter, and when you're not in the RTS mode, right, Matt? So you're still in the top-down view, then it becomes an old CRPG. Then you move your characters. It's not gridded at all. There's no grids, but you move your characters by point and click on the screen, right? And you go talk to people the same way, all that stuff. So I think this would be right up your alley. It's freaking cool. I have not tried the actual RTS multiplayer or PvE versus the AI. I've not tried that yet, but absolutely love this game. Classic RTS. Got to collect your resources. Got to manage your population. Got to build every single unit. All that good stuff outside of your heroes. Really loving this game. Spellforce 3 was on sale on Amazon during the holidays for like $13, $14. So that's when I picked it up. Well worth it. Well worth
it.
And then, like I said, a little Midnight Suns, and then, yeah, Yeah. The weirdness came out this week. Watch Dogs 2. I went back to Watch Dogs 2.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw that DM.
Yeah, I have not played that since PS4. When it originally came out, I picked it up, maybe put 15 hours in, dropped it. Now it's boosted, so it's got the FPS boost, so it's playing at 60 frames. The resolution is 900, maybe, so it's not the prettiest looking thing in the world. But there's something, again, the first Watch Dogs, for some people, wasn't it. A lot of people had a bad taste in their mouth because of the expectations that were set early on, didn't live up to it. I loved the first Watch Dogs. Watch Dogs 2 didn't grab me the same way Watch Dogs 1 did when I first tried it. But going back to Watch Dogs after playing Legion and getting that classic Watch Dogs game again, I really am enjoying myself. And I'm actually having a good time with it.
Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of that. And you know what's funny? Man, I learned something.
Yeah.
There's still people playing Watch Dogs. When you turn on the online, because if people don't know in Watch Dogs, people can invade you.
Right.
You can join missions. Like you can try to take down like armored trucks, and all of a sudden somebody else can come in and try to take down the armored truck. That still happens quite frequently in Watch Dogs 2 if you have the online turned on.
Wow.
A lot. Yes.
Is it crossplay? Is it like PC players or?
I don't know if it's PC. I don't know. You'd have to look that one up. I don't know, to be honest with you.
It's like there's only like a handful of like really sweaty Watch Dogs 2 players just invading everybody's games.
I don't know. The first dude that invaded me, I don't know if he was a noob or what, or he didn't expect me to have a sniper already, but I pull up my sniper and I killed him. He tried to take me down. And I freaking smoked him. So, but yeah, I've been having a good time with Watch Dogs 2, man. It makes me want to have. Watch Dogs Legion is good, and I actually enjoyed parts of it outside of the brokenness. But there's something to the classic, the single character style narrative story that goes along with Watch Dogs that I really do enjoy.
Yeah.
And a lot of this stuff, the crazy part about Watch Dogs has always been Ubisoft, and they do this with all their teams. You see it all the time in Assassin's Creed games, how detailed they get, how much research they honestly do for their games. And in Watch Dogs, they research like current events and what's happening and what the topics are surrounding like our privacy and security and all that kind of stuff. The stuff that they talk about Watch Dogs 2 is pretty crazy. Like there's a lot of it that you could say mirrors a lot of what we found in 2022, 2023. And that's what always catches me off guard. Now, some of the writing definitely was, hey, kids, we're on social media. We know how you guys talk kind of lines. Like it was just, oh my God. But overall, enjoying the game, having a good time with it. That's the best part. I'm not afraid to admit when I go back to these old games, and I'm really having a good time with it.
Well, that's one of the best things about this generation is these free updates to get these games playing at 60 frames because they're way more enjoyable now than they were when they came out even. And it's actually made games like more playable and more like give it life, one thing like I don't really like doing with retro gaming a lot is like I don't like going back to play old games because a lot of times they feel like shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
But when you get these games that like kind of get upgraded along with your hardware, it's pretty awesome. So
yeah, it gives them new life. New life. And again, a game like Watch Dogs 2 that I'd never really played, like I said, I maybe had 15 hours on the PS4, somewhere around there, to go back to it now and get it totally. And again, like I said, the resolution, you can definitely tell it's been downgraded. It's not pretty, but the gameplay experience at 60 frames is that much better that now I've got a brand new experience again. Like, and again, you can sit here and say, there's a billion other games you could be playing. You're absolutely correct. I have a billion other games, newer games that I haven't completed, that I've barely started, Persona 5 Royale, all this kind of stuff. But that's the way I move as a gamer. Like, there's just times where something grabs me. And honestly, the other night I was looking through my catalog, and I turned on my external because I didn't see anything in my main that I really wanted to play, because I was like, I should hit some Persona, but I don't want to get into that. I don't have that many hours. And I just turned on my external, and that's where I've got all the older stuff. And all of a sudden I was flipping through it, and I'm like, oh, that's right, Watch Dogs 2. Well, let's pop into that. I missed some Watch Dogs action. And I got going, right? And that's how it starts. It's fun.
Nice, dude. I forgot to tell you something else that happened this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Shoot.
So I have, our air's been kind of like wonky. like recently.
Yeah.
And then when it got back
Yeah.
warm again, we had like a 70-something degree day, you know, after we had like record colds, right? And I noticed the air isn't getting to temperature. Fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
This sucks. And, you know, our downstairs was not heating as well. And now the upstairs was not cooling. What the fuck's going on? You know, I called it. We have a 4-year-old house, right? 4-year-old house.
Yep.
I call the AC company, like, still under warranty because, you know, 10 years on the system or whatever. They come out. He looks at it. Both of the coils in both of my AC units have been leaking. One of them is completely empty, and the other one was frozen over inside the unit. It had a slow leak over time, and I guess it just like gave up, right?
Yep.
So we need 2 brand new coils in both of our AC units in the attic. And I'm like, what the fuck? And this is a problem because it affects the heat also because we have electric and we don't have gas in our neighborhood. So the heat pump requires refrigerant. I don't get the science in it, but it does in order to make it heat.
Yes, it does.
So I'm like, okay, well, it's under warranty, right? And like, well, you know, it's for parts only. So yeah, the coils are under warranty, but
you got labor.
There's the labor.
Oh my god!
And it's 2, and then but also doesn't cover the refrigerant to put back into the units because they require refrigerant. So it's only the coils that are covered. So I'm like, well, how much is the refrigerant? They're like $100 a pound. Well, how many pounds is there? There's 12 in this unit and 13 in this other unit.
Holy
so I'm like, that's $2,500 just for fucking refrigerant. And then I was like, well, how much is the labor on the coils? $800 per coil for labor. It's crazy. 4 years old, brand new house, 4 years old, 2 shitty ass. And then I like just started doing some research, right?
Yeah.
The AC
maker?
The manufacturer of the AC units, right, had a class action lawsuit against them in 2015 that they settled on in 2018, and they settled on it because of faulty coils that were leaking early, and they settled on it, not admitting to any blame, but they agreed to take care of the customers in the lawsuit, and they still kept making the fucking coils.
Is there another one going on?
I don't know, man.
You're going to have to start hunting down people. You might have to start a community.
I don't know, man. I'm like, I got to find more people that have fucking these bad coils, man, because this is absolutely $4,000, dude.
Bro.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait till it gets fucking hot outside. I can't fathom paying that right now. So we just got the fans going in the house. It's absolutely insane.
I know Caitlin's just loving it.
Oh yeah, and then you know about the problem we had with the chimney that I told you about before.
Yeah.
You know,
with the fireplace.
Yeah. So it's just fucking one thing after another right now, dude.
There's huge benefits to owning your own home.
Yeah, but there's also
I don't miss it. There's some detriments, and I don't miss those moments, brother. I don't at all. Those bills can come fast and furious when you own your own home. But for you in a 4-year-old home, you shouldn't be expecting that at this point.
Yeah, well, I'm used to those things lasting at least 10 years. Yeah. At 15, usually you can get out of an AC unit, you know?
Yes, absolutely. So, man, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Yeah, that's a hard one.
It's all right.
That's bad.
We'll get through it.
All right, Mav. Who do we got showing up in here? Everybody listening to our BS. See, folks. When Mav and I don't get on beforehand, even if
this is the stuff we talk about. Right?
This is what you get, right? You're getting all the behind the scenes. Mav and I catching up as friends are wont to do. Kind of like, well, I mean, it's no different than Jez and Rand. This is what they do on the Xbox too. They spend the first hour BSing and then get down to topics. But you know what? I do appreciate every single one of you for joining us for the first show of 2023 here on PM and the PM on Fun Speculations channel. Shout out to Mitchie Dies a Lot, RWK88, WhySoSerious, Vik The CLiCK, what's going on, brother? Relzer 00, Talos Ray, Psycho Nods, what's up, brother? What's going on? We got Louis Jose is in the house. Dr. Dinglenut, of course, dropping on in here. Deccaddo, what is going on? We got Gavlar 88. What's going on, Gavlar? We've got who else we got in here? General Spartan 27. We got Siki. We got who else am I missing? We got the beautiful Caitlin, the aforementioned Caitlin. Sorry, Caitlin, that you don't have AC right now. I know it's got to be really tough. Love you though. Thank you for the beautiful thumbnail. It is a freaking amazing. Bean, what's going on, Bean? Kevin Baldwin, what's going on? We've got
Is that the long lost
Calarie.
Baldwin brother, Kevin?
I think it could be the one that they never talk about ever.
Is that the one that
Yes.
hasn't shot somebody on accident?
Yeah. Well, I think a couple of them haven't shot somebody.
Okay.
But they all have uniqueness to them. The Baldwin brothers are
Yeah.
something else, I'm telling you. I can't imagine them growing up. Holy cow. Lore Master Jasper, what's going on, brother? Great to see you in here. Calarie. I didn't know if I said that or if I said it in my head. Mike Latoris. What's going on, Mike Latoris? Great to have you in the chat. Masshole 1977. What's up? Let's see here. Did you like how I made sure I split it up?
Yes, I did. 100%.
Yeah, okay. All right. Razor NZ. I'm too old, folks. I've seen a lot of names. in my
Yeah,
time,
we watched
all
too
right?
many
So-
episodes of The Simpsons. We know how those word games work.
Sin, what is going on with you? Shane G, always good to see you, brother. Thank you for dropping on here. Marlesco, what's going on, Marlesco? And of course, Fuzzy Belvedere is in the house, brother from another. What's going on, Fuzz? Guardian Black, how you doing, Guardian Black? Great to see you in here as always. Sappho, what's going on, Sappho? Great to have you. Drop on here and say hi. Il Ray Tito, what's going on, Il Ray? Who else am I missing in here? Luis Jimenez, what's going on, Luis? Great to see you. Let's see, Black Car Day, what's going on, Black? Great to see you, brother. Vampire Zombie dropping on in here, and of course, we've got our friend who is a dev himself, Mr. 3-Bit is in the house. 3-Bit, what is happening with you? And you got to drop those, Fable screenshots soon, so we can go ahead and have some insider input.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Wilfrey Rosario, how are you doing in here? Dark Zone 2525, what's going on? Always awesome to have you in our chat as well. Pali Baba, great to have you in here. B-Rex Media, what's going on, B-Rex? I love these names sometimes. Alvin was in here very early on. Alvin, great to see you. I missed all you guys because I was still driving at this time.
Yeah.
David Cohen, what is going on? Great to have you drop in here and spend some time with us. I think I got everybody, unless somebody popped in at the end here. Silent Cypher, of course. The great, the mysterious Silent Cypher. What is going on, sir? Great to have you in here, as always, brother. Big Mad Mo's in the house. Wouldn't be a show without Big Mad Mo dropping on in here. Ellis, Murder Man Foster. Great to see you, Ellis. I'm just going to call you Ellis.
That's a boxing name.
Yeah, that is like a back in the day kind of boxing name. Outbreak Gamers, which is, of course, Dave. Outbreak Podcast, Dave. What's going on, brother? Great to have you in here. Dion Hayes, I see you dropping on in here. Country Gentleman. Man, it's been a while, Country.
The
Great to see
giveaway
you dropping on
master.
in here. The giveaway master and ultimate He-Man G.I. Joe collection. The reissues that man has purchased is ridiculous. It's unbelievable. Go check out his Twitter account. He's got some awesome figures in there as well. I think God Emperor Sofa King dropping on in here as well. And I think I am all caught up. Great to see everybody. Thank you all for joining us again on this great episode of PM and the PM. So we do have some things to talk about here, Mav.
Let's do our ad read real quick first.
Oh,
before we get
yes,
into the
you
whole show.
still got the ad raid. Please go ahead
Yeah.
and do that. I know I was feeling a little itchy down below, and that's because I forgot to manscape.
Oh, my
Go ahead
God.
and thank you for the reminder, sir.
I mean, has it been like longer than 2 days? Is that your itchy period? You
Yeah.
get like a
Yeah.
5 o'clock shadow
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah, you get that stubble going, and it sucks. You gotta shave it again.
Well, everybody, this podcast does have a sponsor, manscaped.com. So 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year from our friends over at Manscaped. The ball has officially dropped, but that doesn't mean you have to drop the ball on your balls in 2023. Whether you had a New Year's kiss or not, the leaders in below the waist grooming have you covered for your much needed resolution of bringing sexy back. Join the 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com and use code FUNSPECULATION for 20% off plus free shipping. Let us have a toast for a new year, new you, and a new you with no pubes. Let's go. Get smooth, everybody. Manscaped.com. Again, that's 20% off of free shipping with code FUNSPECULATION. Appreciate each and every one of you out here. They have some cool stuff. They got cologne. They got like lotions and like boxers and tons of cool stuff besides just the ball shavers. Also, you got something I want to talk about, but I can't yet. But they got a new product coming in a couple weeks. I have to wait for that ad read. But yeah, check out the website manscaped.com. Great products. I enjoy using mine. Enjoy.
And again, high quality. 100%. Not everything you get is quality. These guys take it seriously, and it really is that nice.
Yeah.
They are worth it. So if you're going to invest, this is the spot to do it in, for sure.
Yeah.
New balls is always good.
Stay smooth.
Be smooth. Manscaped.com. Code FUNSPECULATION. Everybody, write that down. Send it out in a mass tweet and a mass Facebook post, and have everybody pick you up some Manscaped and sign up. All right?
Everybody go get 100 envelopes and buy some stamps and write everybody you know a letter.
Chain letter. Let's start chain letters again. Remember chain letters back in the day?
Oh, I remember chain letters. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember when you send $1 and they would come back around and you'd have like whatever. Oh man, there were so many scams back in the day, but chain letters were crazy.
Yeah. Now that we get chain social media tweets.
Yeah.
We get the ones where they try and guilt you into having to reply. You know?
Yes. Of course. Of course.
Let's get into some topics anyway.
Yeah, let's get into some topics, Mav. Let's hold off on the main Starfield topic here for a moment. Let's get some of the other stuff out of the way here. There hasn't been like this huge amount of information dropping, but there has been some cool things, Mav. So let's get everybody's favorite topic out of the way, so everybody can get on with their night. The ABK deal. Let's do this. We've got to talk about this because there was some more movement over the past week, and also just today as well. So we had the preliminary hearing between with the FTC judge, and of course the FTC's attorney and the ABK Activision's attorney and Microsoft's attorneys. And this was just a preliminary hearing. They allowed everybody to call in. The biggest kind of, I should say the biggest thing that happened there was that the Activision attorney and the Microsoft attorney got kicked out because there were so many people dialing in to listen to this thing.
Yeah.
Because they left it open for everybody. So they overloaded the call-in system through AT&T. So that was like the biggest thing, the biggest drama moment, because it delayed it by like 15, 20 minutes while they tried to get these attorneys back. But I guess I'll read from, let me bring up here. I'll bring up, let's go here. I'll just bring up Windows Central. I'll bring up Jez's article. Since he kind of covers the whole thing. So it's titled Activision Blizzard Xbox deal latest UK regulators delays decision. Microsoft ready for possible FTC federal showdown. This is a story that simply won't go away. Microsoft's blockbuster acquisition of Activision Blizzard continues with the latest drama, revealing how aggressive Microsoft is willing to be to force the deal through. In preliminary hearings with the U.S. regulatory body, the FTC has revealed that Microsoft is ready to close the deal without the FTC's tacit approval, potentially setting the stage for a federal court showdown. Microsoft attorney Beth Wilkinson said that if the UK CMA regulatory body and the EU approve the deal, it will move to close the merger, currently worth $69 billion. Microsoft has also said that it will present any potential concessionary remedies it reaches with the EU and CMA to the FTC as an option to avoid a court showdown, while signaling that it is ready and willing to do so. To that end, the UK CMA today announced that it is delaying its final decision over the Microsoft Activision Blizzard merger deal by 2 months to April 26, 2023. The UK regulatory previously cited concerns over Call of Duty becoming exclusive to Xbox platforms, despite Microsoft's offer to offer the popular shooter to PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam for Windows PCs contractually for up to 10 years. The UK CMA says that it is extending the deadline owing to the complexity of the merger. The latest wrangling comes after the United States FTC chief Lina Khan posted an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal bemoaning Microsoft's offer of concessions, reiterating her position that the deal will harm competition despite the fact that Sony will remain the top dog in the video game in the video game industry even after the deal closes. I'll end it there. Jez put in his own opinion, but we're going to give our own opinions here. So we don't need Jez's here. Mav and I got this covered. So, Mav, this is kind of the news that's kind of updated this week over the situation. And there's a couple things to take away. Number one, I do want to add this. Shout out to Destin Legary. He posted the entire audio of it. If you want to go listen to it after the show, you can go find it on go to his Twitter feed. You should be able to find it, or his channel. In that, the one thing that everybody did leave out, right? Of course, the big point being that Microsoft openly admitted that they might see themselves closing over the top of the FTC, but they also stated, there's a couple points here. Microsoft also stated that they expect that the FTC will go to federal courts if necessary, meaning that they know if they close over the top, it will force their hand, but they're expecting the FTC to do that. The other part that came out was that the FTC attorney admitted that there had been no substantial talks about any type of concessions or remedies at all, but he did contradict Lina Khan's public statements. And this is where we get into that, what we've been talking about a lot, Mav. Lina Khan this is all grandstanding. This is a lot of grandstanding. There's a lot of political stuff. This is a lot of nonsense and hypocrisy here. And why we say that, Lina Khan publicly stated that she didn't, even if we get concessions, we don't believe that these companies are going to hold true to them, right? They're nothing. Yeah. They're not worth anything, right? Well, the FTC attorney in court said that while they hadn't had any substantial talks about concessions or remedies yet, that the heads of the FTC, meaning Lina Khan, the higher ups, had given them the go-ahead to pursue open negotiations with Microsoft over this deal. So some of the trueness is starting to come out now behind the scenes a little bit here, or I should say in open court, where people have to be truthful. Yeah. So that was another big deal, meaning that it sounds like, and again, that could also be a lie. They might just be saying that to make themselves look good in front of the judge. It's certainly possible. But it seems like the FTC may be open to negotiating as well. And then we get the CMA delay for a couple months, which kind of lines up, and I'll let you talk about it, Nav. I'll let you give your opinion on it. But for me, it lines up with the fact that the EU's final date isn't until May, I want to say. So they're extending themselves out to just prior to May. And Microsoft made clear that they want to hear what the EU and the CMA both have to say as far as their concerns go, so that they can offer remedies or concessions to both of them at the same time to try to close both of those deals and be done with it. They don't want to offer concessions to the CMA and then have the EU come in with different concerns and all of a sudden have to go over there and say, well, we got these all in place over here. And the EU is like, yeah, we don't care about those. And so now Microsoft has got to start from scratch with the EU. They want it all done at one time. And that's why in the FTC hearing, Microsoft insinuated, their attorneys insinuated that they are going to offer those, whatever the EU and CMA get from as concessions go from Microsoft, they're going to turn around and offer those to the FTC right away, meaning they're going to try to close the FTC as well and avoid all of this nonsense. So, Mav, all that being said, everything you kind of heard this week going on here, start with the FTC stuff and then move into the CMA stuff. But with the FTC hearing, the preliminary hearing, change your thoughts at all, or what kind of captured your ears during that?
It raised my confidence a little bit, actually. After the last, and the reason being is because they alluded to the CMA and the EU in this, right? And for me, after the FTC sued and everything, and I still had confidence it was going to get done. I was probably around the 60%-ish range, right? But when Microsoft basically said that, we're willing to go the distance on this thing, right? And they also added confidence about the CMA and the EU. There was a certain statement that they had made, and I don't have it right in front of me, but it was like something like, we expect the remedies to be like accepted soon with the CMA and the EU, something like that. And those remedies, once those are done, those are going to be the ones that they propose to the FTC, right? The fact that they alluded to that confidence of them getting done soon with the CMA and the EU, right? Which they haven't. Remember how loud the CMA was beforehand? It's been very quiet.
Yeah, phase one was very loud. Yes.
Phase 1 is very loud. Phase 2 is very quiet. In fact, phase 2, the only things we've seen has actually been pro Microsoft. Even with the public posting from a third-party market participant that was all for the deal, and we have since yet to see a separate one. Then also there was, I forget if it was the EU or the CMA, one of them had the public opinion posted, and it was like 75% for as well.
Yep.
So
are those signals, Matt? Are those signals?
I think they are. I think the signals, and a lot of people freak out when they see these things about a delay in the process, right? And the dates move back, and they're like, well, they're just trying to drag this out. They're trying to play games. What I go back to is the only information I know from the people that actually are involved with this, and that was there was an interview on an Italian podcast, and the spokesperson for the EU regulators was on that show, and she described the process, right, for them. And the CMA and the EU both follow similar processes with this. And basically, she had said at the time that there will most likely be several delays with this, and that's normal, and especially in a deal of this magnitude. And when there is those delays, it's because either they're asking for a remedy to a solution, they're waiting for a response to get back, or when they get that response back, they have to take time to go over it, right? And then sometimes it takes time, or they have to ask, what does this mean? Or how, they go back and forth on those things. So when I see a delay, I add that up with what Microsoft just said at the pre-hearing, the FTC, about soon CMA and EU may approve these concessions or whatever, and that way we'll be done with that. I'm thinking that's this is just, they're in the deep negotiation phase right now with the EU and the CMA about what those concessions are going to look like. Back and forth, they're testing things out. They're like, we propose this, kind of kick back, let me know what you guys think. That kind of situation going back and forth right now. And because they have up until, was it April something, right, to make the final decision, or their public posting, right? So
correct.
That's the latest that they have until, unless it gets delayed again, right? So at this point, I'm thinking like, this thing is just in a negotiation phase, and they're in the weeds of what these remedies and concessions are going to be. And that was all part of the normal process to begin with. And the fact that this is happening, it's an open door. It's not a closed book, right? That, correct. For me, that at least have more confidence. And I think once this EU and the CMA things get closed out, or they get approved, or like, okay, these are the concessions that you're going to rock with right here. That's when they're going to propose those to the FTC, see what the FTC says. If the FTC still says no, they're going to still go ahead and close the deal. And that's what they're going ahead and signaling. And they're also not offering any concessions to the FTC, because the FTC nor Sony has been willing to even beforehand listen to anything. So at that point, when they have the strength of the CMA and the EU's acceptances behind them, they can present that. If the FTC doesn't like it, they can say, well, we're just still going to close the deal anyway, which is what they're signaling, and they're threatening the FTC with that, knowing that and they even alluded to this, we expect to get them to take it to federal court if we close the deal. They said that, which would mean I think they're calling their bluff there. I don't think they will take it to federal court, but because if they do, they will lose, right?
Right.
The FCC would lose in the Supreme Court, or if it got that far.
If it went that far.
If it got that far, right? I
Right.
don't think it would ever get that far. So I think for me, I'm looking at it like confidence has gone a lot higher. I'm at more like an 85% thing on this thing now. The only thing that would be a kickback is if something unexpected comes out from the CMA or EU and they just still decide that they don't want to do the deal, regardless of whatever these concessions are.
Right.
Right. And maybe Microsoft would be blowing false positives out there and false confidence out there in hopes of, just public appearance and all that kind of stuff. And you got to show confidence about your deal. The other thing is, it was interesting, is they did also say if it did go back behind the July timeframe or whatever, they would have to just renegotiate the deal with ABK.
Yes.
Right.
Correct.
Which they seem like they're willing to do even at this point also,
Right.
which was a question mark beforehand. The fact that we have more references now to show that Microsoft is willing to go the distance on this thing, I think this deal is going to get done. Unless CMA or EU just does something crazy, right?
Right.
So that's where I'm at with it, and I have not lost any confidence. I have actually gained confidence from this. Looks like everything's on the right track. I'm not concerned about this delay. In fact, I'd look at it as like that's a good thing. And I think it's going to happen, man. The question is, what are the concessions, right?
Yeah, that's going to be the big play, is what they have to give up. But I think you're spot on. Now, the pessimist would say that, the CMA is doing what they're doing, releasing, the document from one of the industry participants that was all positive for Microsoft, and then coming out and saying our public response that we asked for was the majority was in favor of the deal. You could say they were trying to balance the scales out in appearance just because of what happened during phase one. But that would be pessimistic, and I tend not to try, or I try not to be pessimistic in things. And so I'm going to say that this lines up with everything that we've been talking about, Mav, that our suspicions all along were correct from the get-go. We talked on this show, on Xbox Ultimate, Living Split Screen, me and Steele talked it, that phase two was where Microsoft got to educate these people who know nothing about this industry about what it actually happens in this industry. And you're starting to see the effects of that phase two. Now, the FTC is completely different because theirs is all political agenda, okay? Which means they are ignoring everything, even the law as it's written, to try to get something, to try to move the needle in a certain direction. So the FTC doesn't count in that standpoint, even though they need education as well. But the EU and the CMA, we always figured that's what it was going to take. Phase two was going to be Microsoft's opportunity to walk in there, lay out the receipts, lay out all the facts and all the stats about this industry, and teach these people, at least in the short period of time that they have, about exactly how business operates here. Because it's not like every other industry. It is very different. It's underneath its own set of rules, and has been for a long time. Because let's face it, this industry hasn't been regulated outside of ratings. We haven't seen a ton of regulation in this industry. So they've kind of generated their own rules to play by. And for the most part, outside of the crash that we had with Atari, they've done a good job of regulating themselves and pushing the industry forward and not getting to a point where there was a monopoly at any one given moment. Sure, we've had some big failings in Sega leaving the console industry, and those kind of things happen. We've seen people try to jump in, like Philips, all sorts of people, and fail miserably. But for the most part, this has remained a growing, dynamic industry that has reached this point almost all by itself. So it was going to take this phase two to get people to realize exactly what was happening here. That sure, you have to consider Microsoft as a whole company, but that the Xbox division is its own thing, and that the gaming industry even though Microsoft is in software sales, the gaming industry is completely different than, say, the Windows programs back in the day that got Microsoft in trouble, that kind of stuff. This is completely different, and so it has to be looked at from that different perspective. So I think that's exactly what we're seeing here. We're seeing the effects, and I think that the CMA is lining themselves up in accordance with what Microsoft kind of requested was, hey, we want to hear from both the EU and the CMA before we present both of you remedies to your concerns, because we'd like to get them all wrapped up in one pretty package, make both of you happy at the same time. And I think that the CMA is kind of, in a way, bending the knee to Microsoft and saying, no, we agree. We agree. We think that's fair. And we're going to go ahead and give more time to make sure that the EU gets all of their concerns out of the way and that you can present one whole package to both of us. So that's the way I'm looking at this. I think that the positive notes that the CMA has been signaling with some of the document releases does indicate that there has been some type of shift, at least, as we all knew, phase 1 was a totally separate group of people from phase 2, that the phase 2 people, now that they've heard all the sides in this industry telling them what's going on and how this is going to affect things, that they've shifted their tough stance, that their grandstanding is now over with. And now they're looking at this going, can we really block this? Do we have any really big grounds to stand on here? Is this going to be the earth-shattering move that destroys the industry, destroys competition, and all of a sudden Microsoft is the one king of everything in the gaming industry? Or are we seeing a dynamic industry go through big changes while it's still growing, while it's at the peak it's ever been in? And a lot of people inside the industry say that it's got even a higher peak than this. Are we in fact going to start holding that back by regulating this just because of our preconceived notions about Microsoft as a corporation? And I think that that's exactly what we're seeing here. I do believe, I've been confident from the get-go. I think my confidence has always been between 75 and 80%. I give an extra 10% of error in there just because of human nature, because we're dealing with humans. But I still think that I'm still at the 75, 80% for sure this gets done. I, in fact, think now that it could get done earlier than the June date that they had put on this thing. And I think that you're right, Mav. I think that as long as the EU and the CMA fall in line, the FTC is going to be forced. That was their tactic. They were stalling this out to try to see if they could get Microsoft to cry uncle and quit and walk away, or if Microsoft was going to stick around, that the EU or CMA or both would bail them out and also block the deal, move to block the deal, and that would put Microsoft in a tenuous position at best of trying to get this deal done, and may force Microsoft to just still walk away at the end of the day. So I think that's what the FTC was gambling on, and we'll have to wait to see how it plays out. But I think Microsoft is going to call their bluff. I said it in the DMs before any of this stuff came out. When 3-Bit was talking about it the other day, it was funny. It all came out during the pre-trial, but 3-Bit was asking about it. And I said, I have a feeling that if the EU and CMA come through, that Microsoft will close over the top and force the FTC to go to federal court where they don't want to go. A lot of people have still been buying into the FTC's wording. Well, we don't feel we need to go to the federal courts because there's nothing to block, because we don't think Microsoft's going to close. That's why they don't go to federal courts. I lean more to the side of M&A attorneys that have been looking at this deal, for former DOJ prosecutors who actually did this for a living. I've been falling in their camp more so, that they didn't want to go to federal court because they don't have a case, because it looks crazy on paper.
Yeah.
And that they're going to get laughed out of court by a judge, and they don't want that. And I think that's why Microsoft would, even if they say, well, we expect the FTC to go to federal court, I still think they would call their bluff and just close right over the top of this and say, okay, we'll see you there. Good luck. And you heard also in this call, Microsoft, when they said we expect the FTC to go to the federal courts, the attorneys also said, and because of that, we'd like to front load all of this information, all of this paperwork, all of these documents. We want to load that all into this preliminary trial right here so that we're ready when they go to federal court. Well, all that's doing is providing more information to the FTC judge to see, right? That's just providing him all the stuff that they would present in federal court, hoping that maybe even the FTC judge will turn around and say, Lena, you don't have a case. You can't move forward on this. And this specific judge has thrown out at least one of her cases. I think there might be 2 cases of hers saying, no, you don't have anything to go on. You can't take this forward. So the hope is that maybe the FTC judge himself will say, we got nothing. We got nothing here. There's no reason. So very interesting though, Matt. Very interesting to say the least. Again, I know everybody, you're bored out there, with this stuff. A lot of you are, but for me and Mav, it still continues on. Again, this is going to be the biggest story. When we look back in gaming history, I can guarantee you, if all this plays out and it plays out favorably for Microsoft and Xbox does change the industry in the way that Mav and I have talked about, and so many of others have talked about on all these shows about what we see the future being, and Microsoft is a leader, there's going to be a documentary about this turning point at some point about the video game industry and about this ABK deal specifically. That's how big this deal is. So it's fascinating to me still. So.
Yeah, it's a time of change, a time of big deals, and this is the biggest by far. Yep. So, man, it's worth definite conversation. I personally don't get sick of it at all.
No,
because I just find this stuff fascinating, man. It's like crazy, all this behind the scenes stuff, and you get a little peek behind the curtains of the business a little bit behind everything and stuff. It's just cool to see.
We've all learned now how the regulatory process works the world over. Like we've learned something legitimately. So the next time we hear a story about some company, it doesn't even have to be in the video game industry that's going before the regulatory bodies. We could all sit here and have a general discussion with
we
general
understand
knowledge.
This now because we're gamers and we live through this in our world, right?
Right. We got all the details, which we never hear about that because nobody cares about other companies going through regulatory processes. But we do here, and the world cares. That's the crazy part. Number 1 entertainment industry in the world, folks. That's why this stuff gets blown up more than anywhere else. It's really cool. And I know some of you are sick of it, and I do appreciate that as well. I can understand why. It's just supposed to be about the games, all that stuff. But for us, it's still cool. And just another little addition to that we got this week as well. Today, I think it was, or over the past couple days, the unions, Mav, are putting a lot of pressure on the FTC. Business Week wrote an article today saying their Twitter account put out the article saying Microsoft's newfound support for organized labor has given the company a powerful ally, pushing the U.S. FTC to allow its $69 billion acquisition of Activision. This is no joke, folks. These unions have massive political power, as we all know or should know. And the fact that they now have 2 major unions, 2 of the biggest in the entire world that affect this industry behind them. And on top of that, the ZeniMax QA testers got their unions approved, and Microsoft didn't stand in the way, showing that they're being legit when they're saying, we're going to be neutral in these union deals. Go right ahead. That's fine. All of this is putting extreme pressure on Lena and the FTC, and that might be why you're starting to hear their attorney say, well, we've been given the go-ahead to sit down and negotiate. Because you can only put up this for so long when the people behind Microsoft start piling up, and 2 of those are the biggest players in the world in unions. That's a lot of power backing up Microsoft.
Yeah, and they just sort of honestly, just besides the fact that, they don't really have a case to stand on. I mean, it's really, it's good for consumers, it's good for gamers, it's good for the employees of ABK. It's good for
Mav. No,
it's
Mav,
even
the clown show was out this week, man. Now unions are bad for everybody. Now unions are bad for everybody, man. They hurt us. They raise prices.
This is even good for PlayStation gamers.
No,
it is. I'm saying it again. I'll reiterate that this deal is good for PlayStation only players. I stand behind that 100%. John TJ hit us with a $5 super chat. Says, hi, Mav. Hi, Pong. Keep up the amazing content. Appreciate you, John TJ. Thanks. We will do our best to always keep up the amazing content. Thank you so much. But yes, it is good for PlayStation gamers. I stand behind it 100%. competition is good for all platforms, and better values, best, and plus, really, they ain't losing anything. So
No, nothing changes, as we said.
no,
That's the best part. Nothing changes.
they could only
Life
stand to
goes on.
potentially benefit, and it's crazy.
Correct.
The
Besides,
backlash.
like I said, they're early access to betas and their little samurai skins. That's the only thing you guys won't get anymore. Everything else stays the same. Man, we had CES going on. We got CES going on, and there was a presentation last night by Sony. And of course, at CES, it's not just about the video games, right? CES is all
consumer electronics.
technology.
Yeah, a lot of TVs and stuff like that.
Yeah, TVs, all electronics. I mean, Sony announced their partnership with Honda and actually revealed their EV, their electronic vehicle last night called the Afeela. Like I'm paying too much money.
Afeela.
Afeela is actually the name of their co-produced car with Sony that has all sorts of tech that I don't want in my car, but whatever. It's there, of course. It's the future, but that was funny. But they did have a video game segment, and Jim Ryan came out and promoted the year that PlayStation is going to have. And the games that he read off last night, Mav, for the PlayStation 5, outside of the PSVR 2, which we'll get into in a minute, but the games that he was promoting last night for PS5 in 2023, man, oh man. Spider-Man 2, Hogwarts Legacy, and Final Fantasy 16. If you're expecting more, there is no more. Okay. And again, this is CES. I'm
I was
joking.
surprised. Hogwarts Legacy was on there, which was surprising because it's not an exclusive game.
But
either.
you know what they're doing with their marketing deal, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to make it sound like it's exclusive. Sony does it better. What's one of the things we talked about that Xbox should do better, right? In their marketing.
Yep.
Make your exclusives feel like they're exclusive, even if it's just a marketing deal, right? Just make it feel that way. That's what Sony does. And putting that up on the CES stage, that's what it feels like. And again, they do get some extra content, so that's exclusive. But outside of that, no, the game's gonna be played everywhere. But I just thought it was funny that it was, and again, Sony's playing hide and seek here. They are as well. They've been awfully quiet through this ABK deal as well. There's a lot going on here. I don't expect Sony to finish the year with those 3 games being their top games. Of course, Spider-Man 2 will be, but I don't expect them not to have anything else for the rest of the year. They are due for a little down year.
I don't think they got anything else for the second half of 2023 at all. I mean,
I was just going to ask you what's your thoughts. So you think not, huh?
Their track record, they reveal stuff pretty early. You know, I mean,
yeah, in the past they have
almost everything they have. I mean, God of War, Horizon Forbidden West, Gran Turismo 7.
You don't think
Spider-Man
any of the
2.
games as a service is going to be ready? You don't think any of the games as a service?
If they are, then it'll be like smaller, like stuff that, you know, like could be like interesting. What was that game that we saw at the Game Awards? Like Wayfinder or something like that. I can't remember.
Not Wayfinder.
Well,
there's Stellar Blade, right?
Wayfinder
Stellar Blade
Games. Maybe I don't remember. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
There was like there was a games of service there that was developed by a third party. I think that is a games of service game that's going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Is that Brawler one?
Can't remember what it was, man, but it was at the fucking Game Awards. Something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that. Then you may have some other exclusives. I think they could have other exclusives.
Third
party.
Yeah,
for
Stellar
next
Blade
year.
and those kind of games. Yeah.
But first party, I don't see anything big for the second half of 2023. And I'm not knocking them for it. I mean, like,
No,
I'm not
they're
trying to
due.
criticize them. I mean, they had a good year, 2022. They're
Good year 2021.
studios
Good
are
year
making
2020.
stuff. We haven't had a show from them in a while. I'm half on the track of the fact that they haven't had a big shows because of that fact that they don't have a lot ready, right? The only thing, like you said, maybe factions, but I think that's 2024.
Okay.
So I mean, I honestly think Spider-Man 2 is their only big first party game in 2023, except for the VR stuff. Potentially because they have had so much VR focus.
You don't think they got a remaster in there somewhere?
I mean, like, what Ghost of Tsushima, like, was that already got a director's cut?
Bloodborne, which would crush the internet.
That would be big.
Bloodborne would crush.
Yeah, that would be really big.
Yeah, that would crush the internet. That would save their year. People would be just, bro, it'd be, whether right, wrong, or indifferent, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If Bloodborne came out remastered, it'd be gigantic, okay? Especially with how popular Souls games are now.
But that's not first party still.
They own the IP though, right?
Do they? Okay. So
they own the IP.
It's from software. So I guess it's published by Sony?
Yes, it's published by Sony, I'm pretty sure. So, yes. I think that's the one. Because that's the way it was with Demon Souls as well.
Yeah, if they own the IP, it's first party, so that would count. Yeah. But it's still remaster, so it's like
right.
You know.
I know. Yeah, I do.
It would be a big deal. That would be a big deal. I'm just saying, like, I think they're gonna have a good year this year, but I think with what Xbox has in store, like, it's just gonna pale in comparison now. But Xbox had the same problem this past year, but this is 2023 now, right?
Yep.
2021, it was the opposite again.
Right.
Xbox had more than PlayStation
in the second half. Half, yeah.
And this year, or last year, it reversed. Now 2023, it seems like it's going to reverse, in a big shift this time around, but mainly because of delays. You know, which was also why 2022 was so strong for PlayStation, was because of delays, right? So if we want to be real about that, you know, and so I do think that they're gonna have strong lineup, but it's mainly supported from third-party deals, right? I'm curious how different Spider-Man 2 is going to be from the other Spider-Man games, right? If it's just another... I am excited for it. I loved Spider-Man. I got halfway through Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I'm kind of like, I got sick of it because I just beat Spider-Man, right? It didn't feel different enough for me. Spider-Man 2, I hope for a leap there or some kind, right? I don't know what the hook or what's going to be with that one that's going to differentiate it. I got to see. We got to find out.
I hope seal the deal on that one.
Yes.
Co-op would seal the deal.
I hope something's there, but I don't play games with anybody on PlayStation, so that doesn't do anything for me. like really, I mean, like I don't play any multiplayer. I have like 3 people on my friends list on my PlayStation, dude. Like, just don't play multiplayer in there. So I don't know. Maybe I would find somebody to play co-op with.
Would Spider-Man 2 be a day and date release on PC?
I don't think so. I don't think yet. Okay. I think I think it'll be like 6 months to a year.
6 months to a year.
Yeah, I think they said year for their first party games.
Yeah,
1 year, but I think that's gonna be shrinking over the next couple years probably. But yeah, Final Fantasy 16 is a huge deal, right? Yeah, so we can't overlook that. Forspoken's gonna launch and flop.
They didn't even he didn't even mention Forspoken.
Yeah, because they got the feedback from the demo, and then now they're trying to separate themselves from it.
How terrible! Look, and we'll get it. We can get into the Square Enix stuff too, but like, honest, how does Square Enix get in bed with these guys every time? I don't understand. You get thrown under the bus. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Anyways, continue.
So I mean, I do think Final Fantasy 16 is gonna be massive. That's like
yes.
Then you will have the people that are tricked into thinking games are exclusive, like Hogwarts Legacy. You know, which I have an exclusive quest and stuff like that. I think
exclusive shop.
I honestly think this year for the PlayStation is all about VR. That's what they've been leading up to the last couple of years. That's what they've been promoting. It kind of reminds me of like, you know, back in the 360 generation when we had like the Kinect launch. You know what I mean? Everything kind of shifted focus. For me, PlayStation, they do have like Spider-Man, but it seems like the focus for them this year is heavy on promotion of the PSVR 2, promoting the games that are coming for PSVR 2, where you have more first-party stuff there. Those still count as first-party games, right?
Bro.
But it's only going to be available to a very few people, right?
Bruh, under 5%.
Yes, I agree. It's horseshit, but like,
the narrative shift has already changed in the community. Already, we're pumping VR games as counting towards first party output this year.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They will
All right,
use them. They will use them.
Let's talk about this real quick. Let me set it up and let's talk about PSVR 2 since we just broached the subject here real quick. So the main thing that they showed off during the PlayStation segment last night that Jim was there to promote was PSVR 2.
Yeah.
They came out to announce 30 games at launch, which I will say, impressive. Very, a lot of them are going to be rehashes. I understand that, but anything that launches with 30 games, I gotta tip my hat to them, right? That's impressive. The two big games that they pushed last night was that Gran Turismo 7 is getting a VR mode, which is super cool. Again, I'm not into
Very
VR,
cool.
but if I was into VR, that would be sweet. And it's a free update for anybody who owns Gran Turismo 7. So you won't have to rebuy it. I thought that was cool. And then the other one that Jim was super excited about, you could tell the gamer in him just couldn't wait until he can play this, but that Beat Saber is in development for the PSVR 2. It's not going to launch with it, but it's in development. But yes, Beat Saber is coming to PSVR 2, and you can tell Jim's excitement right there. He can't wait to get in there and knock some stuff around with lightsabers and exercise, as everybody else is wanting to do. So yeah, Mav, go ahead and pick up where you kind of left off there. PSVR 2, that is their big push this year, it seems. Again, it's niche at best. Less than 5% of PlayStation owners ever owned a PSVR 1.
And this one's more expensive.
This was more expensive.
It's better.
You have to own a more expensive console than the PS4. There's a lot to this, Matt, but go ahead. Continue on with your PSVR 2 stuff there.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the year for PlayStation. You know, I really do think so. Besides the third-party deals, and we don't know like what else they might showcase that this is an exclusive, a new announcement. Who knows? But I do think PSVR 2 is going to be a big conversation point because they want to sell more than they did last generation, right? And they're going to be having those probably available on shelves, right? So I think
they said they were going to produce what, 2 million by March, or
something like that. So I think they really want to kick those out. I think they're going to sell out the initial wave probably from all the big time enthusiasts, and then at some point they'll sit and they want to push those out. They want to get those into people's hands, so that way they can sell more games, because there's a lot of VR companies that are looking for hardware to put their games on and stuff, right? So I do think that's going to be a big thing for them. I'm not personally excited whatsoever about that because I don't like VR really. The GT7 thing is really cool, but I played a racing game in VR before and I almost threw up in like 15 seconds. You know, and it is just the movement just doesn't jive with me. Maybe it works better on that system. I don't know. Maybe it'll work because, you know, GT7 is known for the cars seeming slow. So maybe it will work within that game, right? So that's a potential. Maybe it'll work better with that than some of the other games I tried with it with VR. But yeah, VR enthusiasts are going to be extremely excited for that. I saw shout out to Asa, who said that this makes GT7 clearly the best racing game, which is funny. Like, I mean, I'm sure he's being halfway sarcastic with that. Yeah, but you know,
VR fanatic right there.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. But yeah, this doesn't really move the needle for me on PlayStation for the year. No, but I'm sure there's people that are excited about it.
Oh yeah, for
the average consumer, the average gamer that just likes to play the console games and stuff like that. Third party exclusives. Spider-Man. That's the year probably for PlayStation, in my opinion.
Okay. I think they've got at least one card up their sleeve. I don't believe.
What would it be? Well, I mean, what could it be, Pong? I mean, like
I can't. Let's put it this way: it's something that we haven't heard about.
Something from Sucker Punch, maybe.
Yes, it's something that's been under the radar that they haven't talked about. We know that their studios have been making multiple games. They've been building up their studios, and yeah, sure, you can say, well, they haven't had enough time, but Sony does find a way. And again, if they don't, I'm not going to excuse them for that year if that's all it is, right? But they kind of, like I said before, they kind of set themselves up to have a down year coming up. They've been
Yeah.
so consistent over the past 3 years. And yes, I know they've had their own delays. We've never avoided that talk here. And some people in the Xbox community always get upset because you only talk about Xbox delays. You never talk about Sony. No, we talked about all those
Yeah,
delays.
again, that's why 2022 was so good for PlayStation.
Right. And but the fact is they never had a year like 2022 like Xbox did. If they had delays, they still had games in there. The only thing that came close, like Mav pointed out, was the second half of 2021.
Yeah, they had
the
nothing.
Second half, they had nothing, and that was excused in a lot of ways by the PlayStation community because Sony never puts emphasis on the second half. But they got, what they have, like 3 or 4 games in the first half. So they still had a productive year. So I just am always under the belief that Sony does have an ace up their sleeve. Maybe they won't this year. I do believe that Faction comes out in some form this year, like an early access form at the minimum. I don't think it'll be finished by any stretch of the imagination, but I think they do launch it. But I do think that one of these studios or somebody has made something, and I don't know when, but I think they got at least one in there.
DS Omen mentions Bungie. Could their game that they've been working on
maybe I think that game, but now Bungie came out today. I saw in an interview and said that they've got multiple projects with Sony going on right now.
Yeah, that they've been getting help from Sony on. So
they've been getting, exactly. So I'd be curious to see what that is. Maybe, I don't think so. I think we'll see Bungie's game next year at some point, at least a reveal next year. But I definitely think that one of their studios has something. But again, maybe it doesn't show up. And if you wind up that the year is Spider-Man 2, Final Fantasy 16, I'll throw in there because that's whatever. It's close enough.
Is Silent Hill this next year? Is Silent Hill?
Yeah, Silent Hill is supposed to be this year.
And that's exclusive, right?
That's exclusive.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. Yep, that'll be a big deal. They're going to have the third parties. But if that's what it winds up, I'll say that, so I'll be right back on the show that Sony had a down year first party wise. They were due. They were due for this down year. If it winds up that Spider-Man 2 is their only real first party game this year, I'll flat out be on show saying, no, they had a way down year first party wise. Yeah. Even if it is Spider-Man, even if Spider-Man 2 crushes everything, it doesn't matter. I still will say they had a down year. But their push is obviously VR, Mav, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. This is a big launch for them. They want to take that 5%. I'll just call it 5%, even though it was a little bit below 5%. Well, I'll take that 5% and say that they, I believe, are hoping this generation they can come close to doubling it. And I don't think they're going to be able to pull that off personally. I think VR isn't ready yet, but the tech is getting better. And I think that, and again, I've always given credit where credit's due. Even though I'm not a VR guy, again, I don't sit here and say VR is not the future. I think VR certainly could be the future. AR could be the future. We don't know yet, but I'm always for these companies who want to invest this money. But if you invest this money into VR, which they're investing a ton of money into VR, that's what handcuffs you when you're trying to compete against Xbox showing up with the bank all of a sudden because Microsoft decided to go all in. Well, now you're handcuffed because you put all this time and money into VR. You're kind of locked into it. So it's going to hinder what they can do in the grand scheme of things when it comes to their normal console games business in the long run. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance this. They're going to push VR 2. It's a big deal to them. They want to increase that percentage. If they can get that increase, then it will make up for a lot of what they've invested into this PSVR. And then it does become another little feather in their cap that they can rest on and say, hey, we've had some of the most success we've ever had in VR this year, and it's paid off. And I think that's what they're going for here. Again, you're stretching your studios thin when you have some of your studios working on VR and regular games. You're stretching them a little thin. That's going to be on Sony. That's Sony's problem to deal with right now. But I think that was the big push here. I gotta give him major props on this next one though, Mav. And I know some people have been out here in the community saying, "Oh, it's too late. Where were you guys?" But we got to give credit where credit's due. And it's always important that Sony did also announce their adaptive controller.
Yeah.
For people with disabilities. Obviously, us in the Xbox community, anybody that's followed Xbox knows how big this has been to them for a very, very long time, since like 2017, 2018, when they launched their adaptive controller. Sony has been lacking in this area. Now, some of their studios like Naughty Dog have gone, and Sony Santa Monica have gone to great lengths to put in options in games to help people with disabilities. But they've never had an adaptive controller. But at CES, they did announce the adaptive controller, completely different type of controller from what Xbox has when you look at the two side by side. Jim was talking about that it's completely customizable depending on what the person needs, that all the pieces can kind of be changed in, changed out. You can do tons of things with this thing. I can't wait to kind of see it in action. But what do you think about the adaptive controller?
I think it's cool, man. I'm all for that stuff. I'm glad they have something. It looked cool. Like it looked like two flying little saucers or something like that. I didn't go deep into it looking at everything, but I'm just glad more people get to play the games that they want to play. That's awesome.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And kudos to them for getting that done. You could say late compared to Xbox a couple years ago, but at the same point, like they obviously saw what Xbox did. It was like, hey, that's a good idea. We should do the same thing. And you got to give them props for that too. You know what I mean? Like, more people that game, the better. Period. I feel bad for the people that have had to miss out on all these things. You know what I mean? And like, when you get to have the opportunity to play these games now and you play them in a different way, still the same experience for you a lot of times, right? It's like you can have that joy, there's something about gaming that is therapeutic too, right? 100%. And I think like for people with disabilities is something that is very needed at times too, because some people are limited in what they can do, like with activities and stuff like that. So being able to live in a different world and experience that, like, is just amazing. That's one benefit of, I think VR could also be a great thing as well, right? Because VR is very like limited with real control a lot of times, so I do like where the VR has with that space too. But I kudos to Sony for getting this done. I don't know how much it is. Hopefully it's really affordable, and that gets out to everyone who needs one. So
100%. Somebody in Boom's chat today on XVlog put in there that they were disabled, and the only time that they feel normal is when they're playing video games. And so when you hear stuff like that, that's when it hits home, because we don't think about it on a daily basis. For those of us that don't have disabilities, we don't think about it on a daily basis. We have no clue as to what it's like to live with a disability constantly. And so we just don't always consider it. But again, this industry has been on the forefront of trying to push through, and Xbox was one of those leaders trying to do this. And now that Sony is also on board, that just makes things even better. Again, it's just better for the industry. The more people that can come in and experience this industry, the better it is for all of us. No matter where we come from, no matter who we are, it doesn't matter. Video games at the end of the day is a neutral platform of entertainment that everybody should have the ability to enjoy in some capacity if they want to. And I think that that's the biggest thing. So having one of these adaptive controllers for accessibility is huge. And I'm glad that Sony finally got to announce theirs. And like you said, Mav, I'm assuming they understand the industry, where it's going, that they've seen it, that they got to make it affordable, that they got to have programs where people can get these things in their hands, or, whatever the case may be, that this can't be a normal PlayStation peripheral that they sell for $2 zillion because, hey, it's special. No. You can't do that with this. This is about getting more people into gaming at the end of the day. So really, really happy to see that. Hats off to Sony for finally doing it. Big move on their part to join a lot of the industry moving forward in that area. So got to give them a lot of props there as well. And then the final thing I want to touch on with CES and Jim Ryan is that he announced, Mav, 30 million consoles sold, brother. 30 million.
Yeah.
Says the shortages are over. Everybody can expect to find them in 2023. And he said 30 million sold to customers. He didn't say sold through to stores. He said 30 million to customers' hands. Like, he made that a point. We've seen some numbers. Again, numbers are what they are. We'll never know because we're not internal. You believe them, Mav? You believe they're at 30 million sold to customers in customer hands right now?
It's
What do you
pretty close to what the VG chart stuff was recently, I think. So
Yeah.
it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. No, it doesn't surprise me either.
I was like what, a month ago or a few weeks back, and I think they were at like 29 is what they had said or something like that. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look. But I remember at the time it was pretty close to 29. So that was after the holiday rush and stuff. Since then, yeah, I don't think this doesn't really surprise me at all.
And Xbox was at what, 21, 22, I think?
They were
Something
at
like
22 something, and I believe Sony was at like the high 28s.
Yeah.
And that's when I had figured out it was a 58 to 42 split between the two, as if they owned 100% of the market, right? Between those two, this generation is about a 58% to 42, which is a heavy difference of 70-30 last generation. So there's been a 12 point swing generation to generation as far as market share. And I think that's going to increase this year as well.
Yeah.
Even with the more 2020 with more PlayStations out there, the year that Xbox is going to have, I think, is going to get a lot of consoles into people's hands. And the Series S obviously is also that Trojan horse where even if you are a PlayStation gamer and have been a primarily only PlayStation gamer, when you have that Xbox Series S, which often goes on sale for $250 or so, these games like Starfield start hitting. These games like, Redfall and Forza Motorsport and whatever else they have potentially for the second half of 2023, plus all these other games. I mean, there's just several. The marketing train is going to get back on track this year as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But Starfield's a system seller, in my opinion.
We're gonna find out.
I think it's gonna be a system seller, bro. I think it's gonna sell a lot of Series S's and it's a lot of Series X's. And PC gamers are gonna have their PCs, but a lot of people that play console games don't have PCs that are worthy of a game like Starfield. But guess what? Series S will probably be able to play it pretty decently. You know what I mean? So, I think it's gonna be a system seller, man. I think it's gonna be crazy. I expect bundles. I expect the works. What I can't wait to see, because we know how big the marketing train can get going when Xbox really pushes a game, right?
Sure.
Like a Halo, they're on the fucking Mountain Dew cans, they're on the Doritos, right? They're at Taco Bell, they're like everywhere. Everywhere you go is Halo. You see commercials with Master Chief and all over the place and stuff. I can't wait to see this Starfield marketing train in full force, dude.
Oof.
And the music alone in these trailers will sell this thing. Because how many sci-fi nuts are out there that will see this and just be like, man, what is that?
Yep.
It's going to happen.
Perfect segue. Man, we might as well get into it. RSJ asks, do console sales matter? They don't matter in the terms that they used to, right? And they're still a piece of the puzzle. Like, don't get us wrong. Until consoles are completely gone, they're still going to matter. Do they matter as much to Xbox as they used to? No, they don't. And that's the point that we've always tried to push, that the PlayStation fanboys never want to get off of, is that no, in the grand scheme of things, they aren't as important as they once were, but they're still a good indicator.
Yeah.
They're still a good indicator about what's happening on the ground in the dirt, right? They're still a good indicator for that. So when you see the gap close between PlayStation and Xbox, the mindset shift has started to happen, which Mav and I've talked about here and all our shows. That's how you can tell. It's the easiest way to tell is the consoles still to this day, because we're never going to hear the full breakdown numbers. At least I don't think so, the way Microsoft reports numbers. We're never going to hear the whole breakdown of their entire ecosystem and what each piece of the pie looks like. So we can only take the little bits that we get. And the console sales, even though we don't get exact numbers, we still get relatively good numbers, estimations that can show us trends. And right now, both the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles are in high demand. And again, I'm not here to argue
Yeah.
which one's more high. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters is both of them. At this point in the Xbox One's generations, and Mav, you can speak onto it more than even I can because you purchased an Xbox One straight out the gate from day one. By this point in the Xbox One generation, it was already dying. You saw this. You saw
It got
sales
progressively
collapsing,
worse for a couple
worse
years.
and worse. Yes, right. Because it started out great. It started out hot. Like people forget that. As bad as we remember the Xbox One launch, it did great. It had a great lineup. People were buying it. Like it was one of the top sellers at all points. But then after that first year, it died quickly. It really started going downhill as more and more people started getting PlayStation 4s. So for right now, RSJ, we still like to use the numbers. Again, they are still an indicator, and we're still going to bring them up.
I
the
put
grand
it,
scheme, it's not everything.
I put it as like for currently, it's more important for PlayStation than it is for Xbox,
Yes,
just
100%.
because PlayStation doesn't put their games on other platforms day one yet,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
So
correct.
for PlayStation, their system is primarily their ecosystem, right? And then later on, they take advantage of the other places and stuff, right? In fact, they're going to start selling an ecosystem within an ecosystem soon, again with the PSVR 2. So you're going to have a PlayStation in order to get a PSVR 2 and then to sell it. So hardware is extremely important for PlayStation. It's still important for Xbox, very important, but not as much as PlayStation, because with Xbox, you can play the games day one on a PC. You can play them on the cloud if you have a Samsung TV or on a laptop or whatever, a mobile device. There's lots of ways of accessing it. I do feel like the majority of enthusiasts want to experience the games the best, and I think even the casual market, for the most part, still quantifies playing a game, buying a console, right? Or playing on a PC. So I don't think it's just a mass exodus to the cloud or anything yet.
No.
But so I think that systems are still a good barometer for how they're doing. And but there's millions of players that play Xbox that don't own a console.
Correct.
Right? So that's where the numbers get changed. And we don't know the numbers on that 100%, but just the one game Fortnite, when they put that on iOS, there was like a couple million new subscribers into the Xbox ecosystem just for that. So it's hard to say how many PC gamers play these Xbox games day one, right? How many PC Game Pass subscribers there are, right? That don't care about Game Pass on the consoles and stuff. I feel like Xbox has multiple ecosystems. Really, they have the Game Pass Ultimate, that whole family. Then they have the console ecosystem with the storefront, which also goes on the PC storefront. So they're kind of doing two different things. So it's interesting to see the fact that Xbox is gaining that market share this generation without a lot of first party and without the necessity to own the console day one is a very positive barometer for Xbox and something that they are very pleased at, I'm sure.
Yes.
So
yes.
We're gonna see Game Pass numbers explode this year too.
Yes, we should. Like if everything lines up the way we think it is, and let's get into this map. So we had the Chris Redfield. Chris Redfield. We had the Redfall news that it was getting moved to May. And that's fired off a whole slew of talk. And we still don't know if that's true or not, but it seems like this smoke does indicate fire this time around. Jez has confirmed it with different sources. There's been other people who've come forward and said, yes, they've heard the same thing. We had expected that Redfall was going to fall somewhere towards the end of March, beginning of April. And it is now moved to May. And of course, here we are, Mav. We are in we're in January.
Man. Oh my God, it's January 2023 right now.
We're in January.
What's going on?
The Xbox showcase, the Xbox Bethesda showcase was June. They said all these games you're about to witness
within the next 12 months.
Within the next 12 months. Well, half of that 12 months is now gone. Okay? Half of that 12 months is now gone. And what do we see at the showcase that came out? Pentiment?
Yes.
And what third party games, of course, came out as too, but Pentiment.
As Dusk Falls.
And that's As Dusk Falls. Yep, we saw As Dusk Falls, which was freaking fantastic. Everybody go play that. And that's it. And we haven't had any news, and that's why, you know, the Video Game Awards, we came with the criticism because, again, no show at the Video Game Awards. We don't have dates, and we're supposed to be getting a whole slew of games. So we get Redfall news that it's moving to May. But that brings up the questions then, and that's kind of fired off the conversations. Where's Forza Motorsport fall? And, of course, where does Starfield fall, Mav? Because everybody expected that Redfall was going to come out prior to Starfield because that's the way it lined up originally when they were both going to drop in 2022. So we've had opinions across the board, Mav. We've had the pessimists in this community ever since the announce of the delay of Starfield, that it was not going to hit the 12-month window that Microsoft said that.
I've seen some people saying it's going to be 2024 even.
Oh my God, yeah, 2024 or holiday 2023, that it was going to be delayed again. I've been on the train since day one. You know, Mav, that I've been hardcore. It's not getting delayed again. It's going to be here. But, of course, everybody wonders, are they going to stack Redfall on top of Starfield or vice versa? Or does this mean something else to you, Mav? So let's start here with the Redfall news. First of all, you cool with the Redfall falling in May? You like that time frame for Redfall? Do you think, Mav, and I want to ask you a follow-up question to that. So first of all, you think that's a good time period for Redfall? And then the follow-up question, of course, is do you think this was because Redfall needed more time or because they were making room for a certain other game to come out earlier this year? What do you think?
I hope that the first big first-party game we get of the year isn't May.
Right.
So wishful thinking, plus also some other evidence that's been put out there recently, suggests to me now that Starfield will be the first-party game we get this year, not Redfall. So if that's the case, May works for me for Redfall. Like, I hope there's something before April 1st.
Yep.
I don't think you can go until May after an entire 2022 without any big first party games and without launching one of these games. Unless it's absolutely necessary, but then to live up to your promise, you're bunching them all together within like 3 months, potentially 2 months.
Yep.
Which is possible because of Game Pass. It doesn't necessarily matter too much, but I would hope they give each one of these games enough marketing space, not necessarily for the release of like, hey, can you play both these games at the same time? I'm not really concerned about that. I want them to take advantage of these big first-party releases and have the space that they need to showcase them to the world, right? With their marketing push. And show Xbox this game March, right? Then later that launches. You know, you get to celebrate the successful launch of it for a couple weeks. Then your marketing all of a sudden shifts. Redfall, all this marketing buzz all over the place. May, right? That launches, successful launch, a couple weeks, celebrate, right? Then Forza Motorsport, June. Right?
Diablo
E3
4,
time.
Game Pass. You've got Diablo 4.
yeah. But you get my point, right? Like, they can stay in the forefront of people's minds with big game releases for several months if they do spread them out properly enough for that. Just mindshare-wise and getting subscribers to Game Pass, being out at the forefront, being able to nail the marketing how I think they should. I think that'd be a good approach. Now, I think we get the release dates for 2 of those games at whatever this other event is going to be, right? And do you think we could get potentially Starfield in March? Like, that would be, if that happens, that's a dream right there. I think that would be perfect, right?
Correct.
Then you hit Redfall in May. Forza, you could launch at E3.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And imagine it, Forza, right? They don't announce the Forza release date. That's the one they don't announce, right? At this showcase, okay? At this January, February show. They don't announce Forza's release date. They announce Starfield and Redfalls. Both those games come out. We have E3, which is going to talk about the second half of the year, plus whatever else is coming for 2024, right? And then they have the Forza gameplay trailer, whatever, and it says download now, right? On Game Pass at E3 at the big stage, right?
Yep.
Which is going to be a fan-attended show.
Yes.
This year.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't screw this up, Microsoft. You have it's possible to get this so right. And if
it is,
and if they nail it, if they do something like this, I think it's going to be absolutely an incredible first half of the year.
Yeah, this is lining up for exactly what we said needed to happen after 2022. And that for anybody, again, who's listened to us all the time, again, it's always easy to listen to the criticism and you always remember the bad stuff. But if you go back and listen to all of our talks, we always back that up by saying if they come out firing in 2023, if they start hitting the marks that they need to hit, all of 2022 will be forgotten. That's all in the past. It's already past us. We're in January 2023. We've got a bazillion third-party games dropping into Game Pass. This isn't about content, people. I have more content than I know what to do with. And yes, I'm still playing Watch Dogs 2, but that's besides the point. I have more content than I know what to do with. But their third-party lineup for Game Pass is stacked.
Yeah.
If they didn't launch a first-party game the first half, I'd be fine. Not saying that I wouldn't be here criticizing them, but I'd be fine gamer-wise.
Yeah,
I've got so much to play. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. This
whole year is going to be
we talked about.
Fucking insane.
This is the avalanche we talked about, man. It's coming to bury us all. But for Microsoft's sake, and for perception, and for everything that they've promised that hasn't worked out, some of them have worked out. Like Forza Horizon 5 is a huge standout.
Yeah.
It's everything that we wanted it to be and more. Playground crushed it. Did exactly what they were supposed to do. Flight Simulator, niche game, but it doesn't matter. It crushed. It did something that we've never seen possible on consoles before. Like, they've nailed it before, but they've also had their misses. Obviously, Halo Infinite, again, we're not going to get into it, but whatever. It is what it is. It launched great. It felt great. It was great, but they weren't ready for the back end stuff, for the content. They need to start hitting on a regular basis. They can't be this hit or miss. And this is the potential right here to do it. And I think moving Redfall to May, because I know there's other people out in this community that have much more inside knowledge than I do. And there's people that talk to people at Xbox. And don't get me wrong, I'm coming straight from a absolutely ignorant position when it comes to that matter. Okay? But everything we saw at a Redfall, even last year, Mav, highly polished, ready to rock and roll. That game screamed, we can launch this at any time we want to. So unless I'm unaware of something behind the scenes that was needed this much extra time, from going from last year to now all the way to May of this year, I see no reason why Arcane needed all that extra time. I think that this was a purposeful move. I think Microsoft looked at the landscape and they didn't know. I don't think they knew, so they kept it open. That's why we got no release date. That's why we didn't get any release dates. I hate that. That's why we didn't get any release dates up to this point, because I think they were still trying to flesh out the roadmap. And I think the key domino in that entire roadmap, Mav, was Starfield.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure, Todd and his team weren't sure how long they would need to work on whatever they saw in Starfield that they said, we can't make that 11/11 date. But again, that 11/11 date, according to Todd, was written in pen, not pencil. So for him to move it, they were already in the polishing phase. Todd admits that. So it must have been something that they saw that they said, we can make this a little bit better, give us time, but we don't know how long we're going to need. So Microsoft just said, fine, we delay everything for an indefinite period, but we say it's going to be out within the next 12 months to showcase, and that's it. And we don't set anything in stone until you guys are ready. Because ultimately, and gaming has changed, but ultimately, historically, I should say, your big releases were in the spring and in the fall, winter. Okay, those are your big release points historically for video games. Summer was considered a dead zone. Now the gaming landscape has changed. The industry has changed completely. People are playing games nonstop year round. We've seen success stories during the summertime. That kind of narrative has gone out the window. But from a standpoint of optics, Microsoft would love to start the year off with their biggest IP that they've had probably in decades in Starfield. So I think that this move for Redfall is good. I like the May period. Again, I don't worry about summertime anymore like a lot of people do. I think it's still going to be played. It's the perfect Game Pass game from the standpoint that's multiplayer. If it hits like arcane games can hit, and people are loving what they're playing, if it's going back to the Left 4 Dead days, but with all the arcane twists, plus you throw in looting on top of it, and all of a sudden everybody gets addicted to this game, you're going to see nothing but people on your game outside of Starfield if it launches. But you're going to see a ton of people playing Redfall. It's going to get its hype no matter what. They can have the marketing campaign like Mav said. May is a great spot prior to the showcase in June at E3. It's a great spot for Redfall. And I think that, again, I believe this move was coincided with internally Starfield hitting its mark. And so let's get into that, Mav. Starfield. I don't have to tell anybody here how hyped I am. I don't have to tell anybody what this game means to me. But, Mav, we got some news this week. Small news. Nothing breaking. But shout out to Colt Eastwood. Shout out to Gaz, of course, over on XNC. But Colt came with the Starfield talk. They spent almost an hour on Starfield on XNC this week because Colt came with some info. Take it all with a grain of salt. It's all secondhand knowledge, of course, as we all know. But I do trust Colt. I do think that the Colt doesn't speak out of turn. And what he had to say this week, Mav, again, every time I say I can't get my hype levels up even more, I get my hype levels up even more for Starfield. Colt came out and said, and I'm going to pass this off to you after this. Colt came out and said on XNC that he has spoken to people who have their, and again, this is all insinuated, but you knew where Colt was going with this. He didn't come flat out and name names. He didn't do any of that stuff, obviously. But he talked to people who are playing the final build of Starfield. Mav, they have their hands on it. And Colt prefaced this by saying that these people in the past have been pessimistic towards big games. That some of these same people were people who told him about the problems that Cyberpunk was going to have when it launched. And they told him to cool his jets on the Cyberpunk hype. These are people generally not just blowing smoke up every game's ass and telling Colt, oh, it's the best game ever every single time. No. He said these are these types of people who are real with him about the games. And he said these people that have their hands on this version of Starfield are saying that it is bigger and more ambitious and better than they ever expected it to be. So, Mav, when you hear stuff like this, bro, we hear, again, we are not new to Starfield talk. We have not been new to the Starfield hype. We are not, people who sat back and said, it's a wait and see. What's Starfield going to be? We don't even know what Starfield's going to be. No. Bav and I are the opposite of that. But when you hear somebody like Colt come out and say that potentially some people have the final build in their hands and that this thing is bigger, better, more ambitious than even they expected it to be, what is that telling you, Mav? And give me your final prediction here, because we're probably going to hear about this showcase at some point. But give me your final prediction on the release date that you're going to stick your money on for Starfield coming up.
I'm going to just go out on I got to check to see what day of the week this is. Okay. Because I always forget to do that. All right. I'm going to come out. I'm going to say release date, because Todd loves his numbers. He loves to play with them. 3/23/23.
Yeah.
32323. It is a Thursday. You could have that Thursday night launch, right? It would work.
Shout out to Steele, who's been on this since day one.
Yeah.
He's been on the 32323.
I know. Boom's
train.
on that train too.
I'm on it now. I'm on it now too as well.
Earlier,
you know what else?
Before,
you know what else is significant about that day too, Matt? Just to throw
what is that?
NASA uses this date constantly for launches and for news because 323. This will be the 120th anniversary. So 323, 1903 was the year that the Wright brothers patented the first flying machine.
Oh.
So this will be the 120th anniversary of that, and NASA constantly uses this date. Go pull up. Lore Master Jasper pulled up all the dates that NASA's done something on. 323 is a huge date. I'm all on board, brother. Go.
Okay. I saw earlier in the chat before we guys started with the show, they were saying 32123, which would be also a cool play on numbers, which is a Tuesday, right?
Yep.
So that would work too, but I'm going to stick with my 32323. I think that works. I also am confident in the first 6 months because also not only what Colt said, but there was news out there that had kind of come out that they hit a major milestone with the game.
Yeah, that was from Tim Dog. Tim Dog said that. Yep.
There's not many milestones left to hit on a game that's in polishing phase, right? So like, then you hear the rumblings. Now people are playing it, have it in their hands. Also, around this same time, this last week or two, this website goes live with a support page as well.
Correct.
And then on the FAQ, I believe it says this game is releasing within the first 6 months of this year.
Correct.
That is new. They had to put that in there now. So I am confident in the first half of this year. It's not being pushed back. I don't believe it's going to be like a fall game or 2024 or anything like that. I think this game's damn near done, dude. And I think that they're just at the last bug fixes, play test, find whatever bugs you can before we get this thing out and go gold and get it out there on 3/23/23. Now, as to your other question, based on the information that's been coming out and everything, it's like my hype level is through the roof with this thing, dude. Like, I mean, there's like two games that are just melt my brain when I think about them this year. It's Starfield and Diablo. And Starfield's number one, Diablo number two. Could flip-flop after I play them both. Who knows, right? But I haven't been as excited for a game as I have been for Starfield for a really long time. And I did a video a long time ago when everybody was saying, why are you excited for Starfield? Why is anybody even excited for Starfield? Nobody knows what this game is. I did a video a long time ago saying all the reasons and all the information that we had out there about Starfield, all these interviews with Todd Howard, all the information talking about what this game was going to be, right? That added to the hype, that added to the excitement. Since then, we've had the music revealed. We've had like the whole, all these videos come out. We've had more interviews with Todd, especially that Les Friedman recently. That was amazing interview.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Best interview ever.
We've had more videos, sit downs, talking about these different things, but somehow they've done all this without revealing too much of the game. Right? They've given us this is like what I love about Todd and how they market their games and how he's done this with Starfield is he's given me, with all of his talks and interviews and all these little videos and stuff that they do, the inspiration and the feel of the game, right? He set the tone. Right. He set the mood for what this game is going to be like, but without having to go into too much about spoilers or showing too much that's going to ruin things for me. It's more about what kind of experience are we going to have? You know what I mean? And those are the things he started talking about early on. And that's the things that got me excited. Not only because of that, but because I knew the track record for Todd Howard and Bethesda Game Studios on their big AAA first party RPG for their first big RPG games. Their first single player. That's what I'm saying. The big single player RPG games. Fallout, Elder Scrolls. This is the next pillar, right? When's the last time we've had a new pillar from Bethesda Game Studios and a single player RPG? Fallout was the last one because originally they weren't the creators of Fallout, right? So, they had Elder Scrolls, then they took on Fallout, and then they made Fallout 3. It's been since then, since we've had a new look at a new world from Bethesda like this.
Yep.
And that is everything to me. Like the sci-fi epic, it's going to be huge, dude. I think it's going to be a game changer within open world gaming. Like, I think it's going to set a new standard. Occasionally, games come along where you feel like, oh shit, like nobody else has done that before, and nobody else can do that. That's what Bethesda Game Studios has done before with their RPGs, right?
Yep.
That's what they're gonna do with Starfield again, and they're just gonna set the new bar, man. And I'm excited for it, dude. I can't wait to play it, to also play this. I know 100% while I'm playing it in the back of my mind as I'm like, oh my God, what is Elder Scrolls 6 going to be like? Because I'm going to be that hype about what I'm playing there that I'm going to be thinking about Elder Scrolls 6 the whole time too. It's amazing. I can't fucking wait, man. Let's go. This is the year. 2023 is the year of Starfield.
It is. It's a year of great games across the board, but Starfield is going to be one of the biggest.
Yeah.
I have no doubt about that. Let's address this first. I saw Harry in the chat. Harry, you asked a question. Resident Evil drops on 3/24. Resident Evil 4 remake. Does that hurt Starfield? Let me tell you. A lot of people don't understand what Bethesda games mean, because we don't get them very often. That's the deal. Like, we don't get the A-team Fallout, Elder Scrolls games on a regular basis. We have to wait years for these games to drop. So people forget what Bethesda titles are. If this was a multi-plat, Harry, and Bethesda came out and announced, let's say Bethesda was still on their own, and this is a multi-plat game that was going to PlayStation 5 as well, and let's say the Switch on top of it, somehow, some way, which I don't know how they would do, but whatever. Let's just assume that there would be, I would put a bet down that this game, Starfield, if they announced it for 3/23/2023, that Capcom would consider moving Resident Evil 4 remake out of the way, because they would be afraid that it was going to hurt their sales. That's how big Bethesda games are. Skyrim stopped the world like your Halo 3s, like your Call of Duty launches. It stopped the world. People took off and were lined up outside of GameStops for Skyrim. Skyrim sold somewhere, best guesstimates right now are right around 40 million copies, lifetime sales for Skyrim. Resident Evil 4, across all the different platforms that game has been on, is somewhere between 11 and 15 million total. This is a type of the game when Todd launches an IP, and again, granted, this is a new IP, so it doesn't have the storied franchise history that a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls does. However, you only have to go back to Fallout 3 to understand what they can do, because yes, Fallout was an old IP that they took over, but they reinvented it. So technically, or you could look at it from one way of saying that was basically a brand new IP for Bethesda, because they completely made it a different style of game. And Fallout 3 obviously is one of the top Bethesda games of all time. And so when Starfield does get announced, the launch date, there are going to be companies that are going to have to consider if they want to get out of the way. Now, all that being said, because it is now Xbox first party, and because it is not going to PlayStation 5, it is not going to go to Switch out the gate. It is only coming to Xbox and PC to initially start. Will it have that same impact? No. On a grand global scale, it won't have the same impact as those previous titles did. However, for Xbox, as Mav alluded to and said, it is going to have that impact. Starfield, without a doubt, and if what Colt is hearing is true, Starfield is going to be that genre-defining game that Todd has and his team has known to create. It is going to set the bar for open world sandbox RPGs that has yet to be eclipsed, in my opinion, in any way, shape, or form by anyone. It is going to be that mythological creature that other devs and publishers continue to chase down and try to replicate or beat. And that can't be said by too many people in this industry as far as creators go, as far as devs and publishers go. There's not too many of those games out there. We saw Elden Ring do a lot of the same in the Souls genre this year. They have now set the bar for all Souls-like genre games going forward when it comes to open world gameplay. From Software knocked it out of the park their first try at an open world. And what I've always said about Elden Ring is the exploration part came close to what Bethesda does for me, as far as looking at something in the distance, saying, I want to go there, and I'm going to see what I find on the way. Now, it didn't have the randomness. It didn't have the sandbox that Bethesda titles do. But as far as going somewhere and finding new stuff to discover, Elden Ring was close to what Bethesda does. But now take that and put that into the concept of space. And take that in the concept of multiple systems. 1,000 planets to discover. And no, not all those planets are not even close to being handcrafted. It doesn't matter. Bethesda has said in the interviews that they found a way to procedurally generate these planets that do make them Bethesda-like planets as if they were handcrafting them. That's what Todd said in that Lex Friedman interview, was that they weren't sure that they were going to do this many planets until they actually figured out a procedural generation system that would give them the feel of a Bethesda-type planet. And he said they finally got that down and felt comfortable, and that's when they decided to go that big. On top of that, we heard the lead quest designer also do a Q&A in the last Bethesda Q&A that they had. And he said that they got to a comfortability with the questing aspect of it, developing quests for a lot of these planets that would live up to the Bethesda standards when they were looking at doing this. So no, do I believe every planet's going to be inhabited? No, of course not. A lot of planets are going to be dead planets. There's real dead planets in space. They're taking a realistic
planet. If every planet had life on it, then that would it'd be crazy.
Defeat the purpose. We would not be. Yeah, exactly. So, but think about that scope. Starfield is reinventing themselves, or Bethesda is reinventing themselves with Starfield. They're taking everything that they've learned over decades of dominance in a certain genre and really setting the bar across the board. And they took everything that they know and they put it into a much, much bigger scope. And now to hear that people might have their hands on final builds and that these people are saying it's even bigger and better than we expected. My God, Mav, my God, like, again, the closest thing that we have to this type of ambition is Star Citizen when it comes to sci-fi. Okay, that's the closest thing we've gotten. And Star Citizen isn't even a finished game. It's been in development now for whatever it's been, 12 years, 13 years, whatever it's at now. Star Citizen's scope is even bigger and grander than what Starfield's going to be. But that's the only comparison that you can come close to. No Man's Sky has certain parts of it, but not the complete package. Starfield is going to set the bar in the Western RPG sandbox open world genre like no other has before. And again, that's my opinion. We don't know a damn thing because we don't have controllers in a hand with Starfield downloaded on our Xboxes. We don't know. But what I'm saying is I have utmost faith in Todd and his team that this is what he's delivering. This is his baby that he's thought about for over 25 plus years. This is something he's dreamt about doing this entire time while he's been in development, but the technology was never there to completely follow through on his vision. He now believes it's there. And when you get somebody like Todd Howard, and again, all the lies are out there. I know Todd's said a lot of grand things that haven't come true. I understand all of that. I've watched all the videos. plenty of breakdowns on things that he said that were going to be in the games that never happened, or it just works, all that stuff. And Fallout 76 is something that Mav and I have long ago discussed and let everybody know why Fallout 76 does not count towards Todd's record, even if his name's on it. He's got to take responsibility, but it doesn't count in his overall record. The genius of Todd Howard is going to shine through in Starfield. And the passion in this team is going to shine through in Starfield. Starfield is going to be the biggest launch Xbox has had as far as in terms of hype. I think, who did I hear say this the other day, but I think they were spot on. I think it was Boxenberger. I think Boxenberger said it. Yeah, Boxenberger did say it on Xbox Factor. He said this could be the biggest game launch for Xbox. Not in terms of sales, not in terms of that stuff, but in terms of hype and in terms of what it means to Xbox. This could be the biggest launch since Halo 3. And I don't deny that. I think that the importance of Starfield here, and you heard Todd talk about that in the Lex Friedman interview, that this is the first time they've had to be a system seller, quote unquote, a system seller. He's selling what it is now is a Game Pass seller. That's what Starfield's going to be for Xbox. But this could be the biggest launch importance-wise since Halo 3 for Xbox.
Yeah.
And if they nail it like I think they will, if they come out, and again, none of us care about Metacritic. I'm never going to care about Metacritic. But it does matter to the masses in a lot of ways. It matters to how people talk about the game in the journalistic point of view. It matters for a lot of different reasons in the grand scheme of things. If this Metacritic is 90 plus, as their other games have been, Elder Scrolls and Fallouts, if this game is 90 plus for a brand new IP with this size, this scope, this ambitious, then this will be the game that at the end of the year, just like Elden Ring, people are still talking about. Other games are going to be fantastic this year. Other games are going to come out, and obviously there's no denying the power of Zelda. Even though I don't play Nintendo games, there's no denying it. But when it comes to the end of the year, when we start rolling to 2024, there's going to be a game that a lot of people are still playing and still talking about and still tweeting out about and still streaming. And that's going to be Starfield. And that's going to be for years to come as the modding community get their hands on this game and this game expands out. And they obviously no doubt will have DLC for this game. As this game grows, it's going to continuously come up, just like Skyrim does to this day. And that is irreplaceable for Xbox. Irreplaceable. They haven't had a franchise like that in a long time. Yes, Halo is still hyped up in that way. Every single time they drop a new Halo, it still is getting a lot of conversation right now due to Forge. Halo has that power. But some of that mystique has kind of rubbed off as the generations have gone by. This is going to be a brand new IP. They're going to have a fresh mystique about Starfield that they own, Mav, straight up.
Yep.
That's theirs. This is huge.
There was
This
a
is
reason
gigantic.
everybody wanted this game.
Yes.
Right?
There's a reason why PlayStation tried to lock this game out.
And
there is.
I'm gonna actually I take what Boxenberger said and I'm gonna actually add on top of that. I think this is the most important first party big release they've had since Halo Combat Evolved.
Whew. Wow. Okay. I like the anti-rays.
I honestly think so. You could look back in time, right? Remember that original Halo game, everybody was interested in that too, right? Microsoft's the ones that ended up buying Bungie back then and getting that game and helped and turned it into what it was, right? That game, without Halo Combat Evolved, Xbox may not even be here today, right? Very, very well may not be. I see now. Game Pass is still like going to be fine, right? Obviously, like
yes,
like the Xbox ecosystem has cemented itself because of their history and everything, investment into Microsoft. But we have this. I feel like we're at a new era of Xbox now. I remember when we had Insane Cakes on the show and 3-Bit was talking about this too, and we were all talking about this year of 2023 about this is really the mark of the new era of Xbox, right?
Correct.
Where their big time investment into all these studios, all this stuff starts this new path forward, right? The 2022 is behind us, right? We have this idea of how they want to do things, of how they want to get this content out at a regular basis, of how they want to support Game Pass, how they want to have these multiple places, this multiple ecosystem structure out there for everybody to access their content. Game Pass is an affordable place to access the ecosystem. I feel like they've had some games that are great first party wise within that so far, but not that is a new IP.
Correct.
Right? That is theirs.
Yep.
That is going to be fresh, like you were talking about. It's going to have that fresh mystique about it. It's going to, if it hits, it can create a buzz like nothing else, right? Even more than a Fable or a Perfect Dark, right? If this game really hits and Starfield becomes this household phenomenon, right? It can do now for this new ecosystem, this new era of Xbox, launch it into the stratosphere going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Much like Halo Combat Evolved cemented Xbox originally, this cements, and it could be like a stamp of like, here we are. Right? Like, all the stuff in the past, everything, this is us now. Look at us now. This is the beginning. And if that is the first of these first-party titles to come out this year, that would be awesome because it would mark the start of this new era, right?
Yes.
And I feel like that would be
great point.
Really important for them because if you hit this new stride in 2023, when we can go back in time, like let's say 4 years later, and we're like, remember the like ups and downs of Xbox from like the 2020, like early 2020, remember Xbox Series had not really any launch first party games, right? Like,
Correct.
That was a big thing. 2021 they had a good year. 2022 not so much. 2023 everybody can go back and look and be like, okay, what was that? What was that moment when all the talk and all the hype, everybody kept talking about Xbox was going to do something. Xbox is coming out strong. Xbox. When is the moment that it finally hit and it finally clicked? Right?
Yep.
Could be Starfield's launch the first half of this year, then following that up with other titles, just build on the momentum, build on the strength. Meanwhile, everybody's still playing the shit out of Starfield, right?
Correct.
So everything they add after that is just going to add into the fold of like, wow, look at all this content. Look at all this amazing stuff.
Right.
Look at all this value. Oh my God, I'm still playing Starfield. Like I got 1,000 hours into Starfield, but they keep throwing these other games at me. Not only these first party games.
And they close ABK Steel or ABK.
Hey, this isn't living
Steel.
split screen, asshole.
Yeah, I know. No, you got me hyped like Steel. So yeah, and they close ABK, Mav, just like it, right? I was reading Splendiferous comment. Right? That's why it popped in my head. But they close the ABK deal on top of that, rolling into the showcase, Mav. Think about the role they'll be on.
Oh my God. And I add on to that, on top of that, the third party deals that they're doing. Like, Stalker 2 is an exclusive.
Yeah.
God, that game looks good right now, right? Add that to the fold. Atomic Heart looks really good right now. Add that to the fold. Lies of P. Add that to the fold. Man, there was more.
Monster
too.
Hunter Rise. Monster Hunter Rise.
It just
Persona 3 and 4.
Just hit it strong with Starfield, and then just wave after wave after wave of content hit this year with a lot of variety for all the gamers. And then guess what? People that are worried it's too much for 1 year, too much for 2023, I don't think it stops. Because the only reason 2023 is as strong is because of all the delays from 2022 and before, right? So
correct.
Starts this year, and it's just going to carry forward with that momentum. Starfield's going to be the face of the new Xbox.
Yep.
That as much as Halo has been the face over the last 20 years of Xbox, Starfield could launch to give them a start of a new identity. that's why I think it's that important.
And then think about this, Mav, and I know you got a couple super chats to get to as well.
Yeah.
But think about this too, Mav. What a Starfield Bethesda game does, a hit, right? Is not only will people continuously play Starfield from day one, there'll be new people that hop into the ecosystem once that hype starts rolling. They'll start playing it as well.
Yeah.
That starts a whole new hype level. But, Mav, the journalists continuously will be putting up articles about new discoveries in Starfield, new mods coming out for Starfield.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. And then, Mav, on top
A living
of that,
game without being a living
it's a living game. And then Todd, again, not that he has to, for a lot of us, re-cement himself again, but he re-cements himself and Bethesda again as one of the finest development houses in the entire world for these types of games. And what does that do, Matt? All of a sudden, everybody starts talking about Elder Scrolls 6. Oh my God, this is what we got in Starfield. What's Elder Scrolls 6 going to be like? And then the shift happens as they start development on Elder Scrolls 6. Then the talk starts about Elder Scrolls 6 while you still have all this continuous Starfield talk going on. Now the masses are hearing about it. Now it's not just, oh, it's another Xbox first party title, or I don't know about Bethesda games. People start seeing all this stuff. And again, you have more people jumping in. It's a continuous cycle. Then you throw on a dump truck full of gasoline, like an ABK deal, onto this fire. Then you throw on Diablo 4 dropping into Game Pass once the deal's done. Then you throw in Call of Duty dropping into Game Pass at some point. Then you start talking about StarCraft coming back, World of Warcraft 2 coming into play. Brother, that, like you said, this is the tipping point that we've talked about nonstop that Xbox could hit. When do the dominoes start to fall? When does that snowball start the avalanche that you can't stop because there's just too many development teams underneath Xbox to stop it? And sure, not every game is going to hit. And Starfield could come out and not be that game. And then would have questions. And then there would be talk about it, right? But if it is that we believe that Starfield is going to be that domino, it is going to be that first snowball down the hill, what a way to start, Mav. Yeah. Because then for the rest of this generation, you have nothing but games coming out. And if they hit this year and they get the marks, they get Starfield out, they get Redfield, there we go again, Redfall out again. They get Redfall out, and it's good to great for Arcane. They get Forza Motorsport out. It sets the bar again for racing games. Forza comes out and just drops the hammer. And then all of a sudden, they sneak in at the end of the year, man. They sneak in at the end of the year. Those rumors about Hellblade 2 being ready, you get that in this year, or just any other game. Avowed, Hellblade 2, it doesn't matter. But they get that to hit by holiday of this year, and that comes out well. Bro, they have just opened up the floodgates, and they should be clear sailing. Outside of another pandemic, outside of something crazy happening in the world, they're set up so that all their studios should now start hitting that mark of one AAA home run game per quarter dropping into Game Pass easy. And that should continue
and that's
forward.
Just the big games.
Yep.
So,
and you got constant talk. Oh, my God, it's going to be crazy. Go.
We got a couple super chats. Caper Grant 692, member for 16 months, said, "Hope everyone had a great holidays and Happy New Year." Yeah,
thanks,
you
Caper.
too, bro.
Happy New Year to you, brother.
Psychonauts, shout out to our brother Psycho, with a $2 super chat, said, "Starfield will be the game of a generation."
Yep, certainly could be.
Could be. That Skyrim. I mean, to a lot of people, Skyrim was a game of a generation, right?
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Why
can't everybody? But it is.
Why can't Starfield be that as well?
100%.
Few games have sold as much as Skyrim has over the last decade. That's for sure.
Yep. That's for sure.
Splendiferous with a $2 super chat says, "Whoa now, Pong. Capcom has big balls." Still, Mr. Todd, smiley face.
Hard smiley face. Yeah, no, Capcom does have big balls. Capcom has really regained their position in this industry. And when I said that, I mean, again, I said I'd bet that they would think about moving it. Not that they necessarily would 100%, but I would bet that they would consider it being if Starfield was multi-plat, because that's how big Bethesda games are. So
yeah, and if Capcom has that big of balls, maybe they should shave them with Manscaped.com. Code Fun Speculation, 20% off and free shipping. Jasper, member for 18 months, says Starfield, bruh.
That's right, bruh.
Uh,
It's coming, bruh. It's
bruh?
coming, hopefully sooner than later. Again,
Yeah.
we don't know the dates for sure. The March 23rd date makes a lot of sense. Could it be pushed to April? Absolutely. Could it be pushed to June? Absolutely. If again, at this point, if they needed that time, sure. I mean, again, it doesn't matter when Starfield drops. It's going to be a phenomenon if it's everything that we expect it to be. It won't matter when it drops. And again, with Game Pass, that stacking of games means less than it did back in the day, because as soon as somebody buys into the ecosystem, they're going to have access to all those games and they can play them when they want to. That's the benefit of Game Pass, is that those games are always going to be available whenever anybody's ready. Of course you want the day one hits. Of course you want people jumping out of their seats to go get the game. I saw other people like Jigga J in the chat saying Starfield will still sell 5-10 million copies when it launches on top of Game Pass. I don't doubt that either. I think it certainly has a possibility. I know if there's a collector's edition, which I believe there is, I believe that smartwatch, we talked about that last year, Mav, when those diagrams dropped. The smartwatch is going to be included. It's the case that you see in the trailer, that's going to be the special edition. I'm going to do my best with my limited budget to go get that collector's edition, even though I will have access to the
I want that watch
on Game Pass. Yes, I want that. I want that collector's edition. So yeah, people are going to buy Starfield just to buy Starfield. It's one of those games. Again, Bethesda titles are like that. People will own multiple copies of Starfield. That's how Bethesda titles roll. So yeah, I definitely believe that could be the chance. But again, March, I think, is the perfect way, as you pointed out, Matt, to start this generation, to start the new look Xbox, right? And again, people in this community, get ready, folks. I know this is going to be a shocker, but the clown show in this community is going to try to say that Starfield doesn't count if it comes out and hits. They're going to say Xbox had nothing to do with Starfield, even though we know from Todd Howard's own mouth, Xbox's top engineers have been in there working with Bethesda to help make that game even better. So again, they're going to try to downplay Starfield. Don't let them. Starfield is a first-party title through and through. Xbox had a lot to do with its success. As much as, again, if it fails, I'm not going to say, well, that was the Bethesda title. Xbox didn't have anything to do with it. If it fails, it's on Xbox as well. It's their responsibility as well. So don't let them take it away, but it is the start to the new look Xbox. It's the start to what we've been talking about nonstop since we started doing these shows. And it is going to be a great way if they can pull it off earlier this year than later.
I got a rebuttal for the people that will say that Starfield doesn't count, right? I was talking about the comparison between it and Combat Evolved. Does Halo Combat Evolved not count because that game was in development before they purchased Bungie?
Oh, sure.
Right? Which is one of the most synonymous games with Xbox from now. And you could ask any of them, they probably wouldn't even know that. You know what I mean? Like, the thing is, the name Starfield is going to be synonymous with Xbox.
Yep.
And that's what matters.
Yep.
And it is an Xbox-owned first-party franchise as much as Spider-Man is for PlayStation, right?
Yep.
Actually, more so, if you want to be honest on that, because, Sony only owns the IP of the movies, right?
Yep.
So,
and Talos Ray, perfect example. Talos Ray says, I'm not a Bethesda fan, but I will try it. Of course, that's the other part of this. Because it's in Game Pass, people who are not necessarily Bethesda fans are going to download this, and all of a sudden, new Bethesda fans are going to be born. Not everybody, but new Bethesda fans will be born, and all of a sudden, they want to go back and maybe try out a Skyrim after they get done with playing Starfield for a few $100. That's how this works. It's a beautiful system. And I think it's all systems go early this year.
how many hours do you think you're going to put into Starfield?
If it's everything that I'm saying it is right now, if it matches my level, again, I put 300 hours into Cyberpunk in one playthrough, right?
Yeah.
So if I extrapolate that, and I think about Skyrim total, I mean, my first playthrough of Skyrim was probably near 300 hours as well. You extrapolate that, you put this into space with everything to discover. If I can live my pirate's life dream in space, Mav, this easily could be a 1,000-hour game for me. Easy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I this will be a game that I never uninstall. This is a game that I will continuously go back to. But for the first, again, this is why I want it. And again, some of my hopes and dreams about it dropping in March is because I don't want it to drop a month before or the same month as Diablo 4, because Diablo 4 is going to get some run from me, right? Diablo 4 is going to get played. I want time with Starfield. The first couple months of Starfield are going to be my same that I did with Cyberpunk, where that's all I played. If I had 5 minutes, I'll be playing Starfield. If I have 10 hours, I'm playing Starfield. That's how it's going to be for me.
I kind of wish, you know, it would have been perfect for Starfield to hit this past year, just because it was such a slow year for games in general. I feel like, like that space to just like have that all to itself, kind of what Elden Ring became that this year, right?
Correct.
But that's the only thing I look at next year with all these things coming out, including from Xbox, is like, I know I'm going to be putting a lot of time into Starfield, but also because I am the guy that I have to play everything that attracts me, you know, I'm going to be hopping around so much, you know. But I feel like,
same, Mav. We got RTSs coming back this year.
I know.
I mean, there's no way I'm going to ignore them. There's no way.
I feel like Starfield will be that like home game for me.
Yeah.
When I'm not playing something else, I go home to Starfield. You know what I mean?
Right.
But man, it's so many great things. Like the fighting games coming out next year. You got Starfield. You got Forza Motorsport. I put out
this year. It's this year now, Mav.
Sorry,
this year.
You're right. I put a lot of time into my Forza games. You know, especially the motorsports. Not as much the last one, because I kind of got down on it a little bit because the way they went with the career, and that's getting a little stale. I mean, this is a reboot for Forza, right? And I really feel like Forza is going to play a huge part of my year this year too. So between Forza and Redfall, which Redfall for me, the good thing is I feel like we can do a co-op session on that, play through it, kind of move past that, maybe go back to it later down the line when there's new content or something like that, which there probably will be. But I do feel like there's going to be something new to play every few weeks this entire year.
Yeah. Absolutely. Again, Wolongs, Monster Hunter Rises. There's so much. Atomic Heart, Stalker 2 when it finally drops. There's so much, man. Again, I mean, God, we got games I got to buy. Like System Shock remake is coming out that I want to go back to, because System Shock is the original BioShock. Like, there's so, again, for anybody who's been doubting this entire time when I say this is the golden age, this year is going to prove it. This year is it. That, like, all these third-party games that have been delayed because of the pandemic are now hitting this year. It's going to be one of the craziest years, if not the craziest year in video game history. The biggest and brightest year. And it's from Xbox alone. Like, I can't imagine owning a PlayStation 5. I can't imagine owning a Switch, because I would not know how to adjust my time. I'm not going to know how to do it this year. There's going to be games that I don't play this year, even as a grazer, because of the big games coming out, the Starfields, the Age of Empires, the Diablo 4s. Those are time sink games. And even as a grazer, I understand myself. I'm going to be in those games for a long time. This might be the first year I don't break 100 games grazed. I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. But like, it's going to be crazy this year. And then there's going to be that backlog is just going to roll for the rest of the generation. And it's going to keep going. Like, there's nonstop. Right?
Yeah.
So it is goofy. It's crazy. It's wild to think about what we've got coming down the pipeline.
Third party is going to be insane.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy. You got Hogwarts Legacy, which could be easily a 60-hour game, 80-hour game.
Final Fantasy 16.
Which I don't have to worry about because I'm not going to have PlayStation 5. So
sorry.
Until Square figures it out. Again, I'm not worried. Like back in the day, I would have been kind of disappointed or depressed or been like, shit.
There's so much to play. It's like if you miss out on something, it's not a huge deal.
No, it's like, okay, I'll get to it at some point in my life, maybe. It's like, you know, what am I going to do? I got to be realistic. Until I'm paid to play games and sit around for a minimum of 40 hours to work doing gaming stuff, and then all my extra 40 hours a week goes back also into gaming. So I got like 80 hours a week in gaming. it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen, right? So,
I
Jigga J said something too. He said he's got now over a day played in Cyberpunk. The good game, and the Netflix show was fire. Congratulations, Jigga. I'm glad you went back and discovered it. AJA famous Bethesda coming out of the dark tunnel / vault to reveal the world. We've talked about this in the past,
yeah.
Matt. Go ahead. What did Todd say?
Todd said there's going to be multiples of that moment in this game. 2 big ones. Yeah, I think probably he didn't say specifically. I think the first time is going to be like setting foot onto a planet or something, and then
initial review wherever you start. Yeah. And then
anytime you step foot on a planet, probably.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I feel like you could chalk that up into. I mean, you could have it out. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he did allude to 2 specific ones, but didn't say exactly what they were, right? So, but I do feel like they're going to try and allude to that each time you step foot on a planet as well. Yep. It just goes with their MO.
And then the second one is when you leave the atmosphere for the first time.
Yes, we talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah, when you breach space, when you take off for the first time and you get out into space and you see space for the first time, that's going to be the second big moment, is our guess.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we predicted that before.
Yep.
It's going to be amazing.
It is.
Something, Pong, we talked about this a little bit last week, but I was watching Xbox 2 on Friday last week.
Yeah.
And I posted they do the little Q&A session on the end of the show.
Week, right?
Actually, it was Sunday. Sorry, it was Sunday.
Was Sunday? Yeah. I missed it completely because I was so damn busy. So when they didn't have their Friday show. Yeah.
So I asked a question. I asked Rand, because we had talked about this between us. How many first-party games do you think there will be from Xbox in 2023? Rand said he could see 10.
Oh my God!
So he was on board with that.
Rand's on board.
He's on board with it. Yeah. He got a little kickback from Jez, like with the little which games count and which ones don't, right?
Yeah.
And
no.
But he had answered it on the show. He said he thinks 10 potentially. Yeah. I mean, he said it could be as much as 10, right?
Right.
And it sounds crazy. Colt's on board with it too, because he was on Twitter talking about it. Could Xbox actually have 10 first-party games in 2023? Fuck. I'm going to eventually get this year right. 10 first-party games. Now, you can try and discount them, right? But, you say Age 2 and Age 4, right?
Yep.
Then you got Ghostwire Tokyo, so that's 3. Those are the 3 that some people will try and discount, right?
Sure. Absolutely. Of course they will.
And then you could say GoldenEye could be a 4 that it could be discounted, or you know what I mean. I never really thought of that one.
No,
because
it's more Nintendo.
Yes, but some people are counting it. When I included my original count,
I'll be right back.
I didn't include that. Yep. But so we got Age 2, Age 4. We have Ara, which could be announced for consoles. We'll see. But then we got the big 3: Redfall, Forza, and Starfield. And that's already at like 7 or 8. That's like 7, right? So then we have Tango Gameworks, supposedly is going to have a smaller title that they could reveal. That was a rumor from Grub, I believe. So all they would have to have for the second half of the year, guys, is like 2 games for the entire second half, besides the other one to hit 10. Minecraft Legends, that's the other one that, yeah. Do you guys think it's possible? 10? I'm not saying exclusives. If we say exclusives, then it's even beyond that, because they got other exclusives too that aren't accounted for this, that aren't first party. I'm only talking about first party games. Exclusives, you could go up to like 13, 14, 15 exclusives of solid exclusive games, maybe even more than,
I think
more than that.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more than that when Colt went through his list.
Yeah, so exclusives, you talk about Stalker 2,
Atomic Heart.
You know, then also like then you can go into Game Pass day one deals, you know, like Replaced and Silk Song. I mean, what a year. It's gonna be insane.
How can you yeah, Shane G, how can you discount Ghostwire Tokyo? You know what the drill is gonna be because it was already released,
Yeah.
right?
People
It
will
was a
use
game
the
that-
old games narrative.
old games, and obviously because Microsoft purchased them when the game was basically done, so they don't count them as first party. And again, Ghostwire Tokyo, because it didn't hit with the critics and it didn't do amazingly well when it launched on PlayStation 5, people dismiss it the same way they dismiss Age of Empires as, oh, that's an old game that's already been on PC, and by the way, it's niche because nobody plays RTSs. So it's the same story. It's the same story. Minecraft Legends, same thing. They're going to dismiss Minecraft Legends completely.
Yeah, they'll dismiss Age 2 and Age 4, like I said earlier, just because of the whole, you know, they're not brand new games, but it's new on the console. In fact, Age 2 and Age 4 are new versions of the games for console. So, right. I mean, it's 100% counts, in my opinion. In fact, all those games count, in my opinion. Only one that may not get a console release is Ara.
Yes.
Which, if that could happen later in the year, who knows? We'll see. But it's in the Xbox ecosystem. I don't know whether to count that or not, because if you're talking about Xbox, so, you know, some people say
published,
first party.
It's published.
But then I look back. So did we count Age 2 and Age 4 twice? Because did we count it before when it launched on? You know what I mean? But so at that point, like the Ara, I don't know.
Ara, I wouldn't count if it's not on console. I just I don't look at the PC stuff. So it is what it is.
Yeah, that what I'm talking about is on console. So I think 10 is reachable.
It's crazy, bro.
First, and that's not, like I said, that's not just exclusive. That's first party games.
Yeah. Yep.
Imagine, we were talking about this earlier with the crazy 2023 that Xbox is going to have, which is going to be a great year across gaming. Nintendo's bound to have some good stuff. Zelda's going to come out. Hopefully we get a new hardware announcement there. Third party is going to be insane this year with multi-plats.
Yep.
But like you said earlier, this ABK deal closes.
Yeah.
What gets announced after that? The library going into Game Pass. Not only that, but they'll have some kind of like, hey, welcome to the family, Activision Blizzard. Maybe a little bit of glimpses about stuff that could potentially happen in the future with them. I mean,
if people didn't see my tweet, it's the 20th anniversary of True Crime this year.
Yeah.
What a perfect time to announce your intent to bring it back. But if they do this sit down, and the one thing that Phil says, and I'm on board with Jez with this, if he just simply says, our first big announcement we like to say is we're intending on bringing back StarCraft. Like that'll be it, brother. That'll be it. Like that will be huge. That would be gigantic. But just think about what they could talk about at that point, Matt. What all the things that we don't even know. That Activision has working on right now, right? We don't know. There's projects going on. We know Blizzard's working on at least one, if not more, new IP. What if there's other new IP that we don't know about? They could start talking about that. Phil could lay out the roadmap for, again, this ABK deal is going to pass. They're going to announce it. The acquisition is going to go through. They're going to drop games into Game Pass. But as far as the studios go, this is going to be like a 2-3 year project to get those studios realigned. Like this is not going to be like a day one realignment where Phil's like, by the way, hey Raven, you guys are going to do this game now. Like that's not how this is going to happen. It's going to be a slow process, but the future is so bright, Mav, of what they could talk about that it's just going to be gasoline on this fire. It's just going to power Xbox. That's why this is such a big, giant deal for them. It's going to power them for this entire generation. And then their future plans 10, 15 years down the road are dependent upon this deal. It's a big, big moment in history.
Speaking of ABK, though, I feel like 2022 was so dominated by the ABK acquisition, not only just because of how big of a deal that is, but also it was a down year for gaming news, period. Besides that, there wasn't like a lot of like, some of the big shows were disappointments, right? Even if they were good, still disappointments from all companies, all publishers, and all platform holders. You had some decent shows here and there, but there was a lack of shows also. There wasn't as many as usual. You know, I think the Game Awards was really good. I think Xbox had a good E3 showing. But besides that this year, the only thing I can point to that I can say, oh, that was really good was PlayStation had one decent showcase there. That was like a 40-minute one, right?
Right.
Right. Other than that, there wasn't a lot of like consistent like news and like exciting stuff like we'd been getting the previous couple of years, you know? And the other thing I feel like is going to happen this year is besides this dominance of the first party titles coming out and this new era of Xbox launching, I feel like this is going to be the best year in a long time for big shows and news because of the amount of titles coming out and the time period we are into these console life cycles and stuff. The fact that we didn't have a lot of those big moments last year with brand new big game announcements, right? I feel like we're going to have a lot of that this year. And I don't know like how they're going to spread it out or whatever. But I think this year is the year that Xbox goes and starts doing a quarterly show. That was one of my predictions when we did our prediction show, right?
Yep.
And
I hope so.
Jez had just recently made a tweet that I saw. We got tagged in Pong.
Really?
Yeah, we got tagged on this. So shout out to I forgot who tagged us in it. I find it. Oh yeah, shout out to Jay Rimbert who had
shout out to Jay. What's going on, brother? Okay, yeah, I see.
Jez had commented on somebody's post and said you shouldn't be waiting too long, but maybe showcase is a strong word. Direct, maybe. Not sure on the scale yet, but don't expect like a huge E3 show. Like for the January, February thing. Which would kind of allude to that like quarterly type scenario thing.
Correct.
Like, and not necessarily have to be stringent on a quarter, but like every few months, you do something like that.
When did we start talking about that, Mav? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Freaking
when they acquired Bethesda.
Yeah. That they need to think about how
they're going to showcase all these games that they're going to have coming. Now we're getting to this stride of like, they got these games are going to start coming out and now they got to like figure out how to market them properly and all that kind of stuff,
the
right?
Flintlocks of the world need their showcase, their spotlight, right? Flintlocks coming to Game Pass first half. Arc 2 is due at some point. My God, they got to show these games. They got to, even the third party stuff.
And after the ABK acquisition, it's going to get even worse.
Yes,
How? What is their E3 going to be like? What is their E3 going to be like?
I said.
We're going to have separate shows for Bethesda, Xbox, and ABK?
Yeah.
Still? Like,
yes.
I don't know.
They could dominate an entire week. Xbox, Bethesda, ZeniMax, Activision, Blizzard, because you still got BlizzCon too. They're going to own another.
BlizzCon.
Con.
You got QuakeCon. You got BlizzCon.
Yes. Right.
You got.
They got Minecraft, the Minecraft one. They got that.
Yeah, Minecon. You got
or whatever it's called. I forget what
it's called. Minecon. And you also have the Call of Duty League, like with the that's a big deal. They do big shows and big announcements and big things at those things sometimes. Right. It's like the Call of Duty launch thing is a huge event every year, right?
Yep.
Like there's literally so many things they can take advantage of from marketing, right?
Right.
So they can do, but those things usually they only do like one or two little things. But they have revealed a Doom at QuakeCon before.
That's what I'm saying. They could use them. They could use those as like other avenues to showcase games, like for those specific purposes, right? So, but you're right, Matt. This is again when ABK comes into when ABK comes into the fold, it's a whole nother. What are you going to do for your E3 showcase? Maybe that's why they went to the 12-month thing in preparation for when that happens, because maybe they do just only limited to E3 just due to time. The showcase can only be for the next 12 months with all these studios that they're going to have. Like it could be crazy, man. It could be crazy.
Yeah. Vic says XCon.
Just go. One big XCon.
One big XCon. Be insane. What is their show they usually do called? XO. XO. Yeah. Maybe XO becomes a much bigger thing.
Yeah, it certainly could. Again, man, we've seen them use the Tokyo Game Show more for their Eastern. Now that they're getting into the East, Now Tokyo Game Show is getting announcements and I things shown there. Obviously you've got Gamescom. You got all these other places where they've had strong showings in the past. Maybe they just lean into those even more. I don't know.
They need to have a con for every first-party big franchise they have. FableCon, Perfect Dark Con, Avowed Con, Halo Con. They do have a Halo thing.
Calarie, I'm pretty sure XXX Con is already taken somewhere for a different industry.
XXX Con.
Sure
3 times the amount of Xbox at XXX Con. Game Pass Con. Game Pass Ultimate Con. There's so they got so many things they can do. And it's crazy to think while Xbox is having this year that they're going to have PlayStation is going to be pushing that VR.
Yeah. It's 2 different strategies, man. We saw this coming from a mile away. We knew this was going to get funky this generation with PlayStation trying to do something completely different, holding on to the old business model for as long as they possibly can. And here's Xbox trying to trailblaze in this new direction. And if they get the ABK deal, it is going to be a huge disparity between the two and what they're showing. Like it really is. There's no way Sony can show anywhere as close to what Xbox is going to be showing.
You know what they should name it? If they after they close ABK, they should have a big festival and they should call it the LenaCon.
Oh my God, Jesus! That'd be freaking hilarious.
I saw Fahim say KhAoS.
KhAoS. Oh
yeah, the LenaCon. Yeah,
ShakaCon.
We'll have the LenaCon to celebrate all things Xbox ecosystem and just name it that forever. That'd be amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's gonna be crazy, folks. Again, it's funny because Mav and I get just as excited as if this is the first time we're realizing this, but we've been talking about this for so long. But every time something new comes up or we get new information or we're expecting a new show or we hear about Starfield potential, or Redfall's being moved, it just gets us refired up again. Like that's why we did this show. That's why we are on all these shows.
Yeah.
And Mav has this whole channel is for this reason. Like this is what it is. This is all new. Like when I start running, like I know all these games are coming out. Like if you sat me down and said, okay, write on paper, the game's coming out in 2023, I'd have a freaking long ass list for you, right? I'd forget some, but still comprehending it, like just knowing it and talking about it are 2 different things. And it's so exciting to be a gamer right now. It's just ridiculously exciting. Oh my God. Can't believe it, man. I can't wait to see what Xbox does. Again, the strategy behind it all, where they're going to take this, how they're going to do this is all a part of what gets me fired up.
Yeah.
Like some of that's boring to some people. For me, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
I want to see how they're going to handle this much content, man. We've never seen, like they are going to be, if the ABK deal closes, they will be the biggest publisher in the world at that point, I believe. Right? Not in terms of overall money, Embracer will still have more IP, more studios, obviously. We know that. But I'm just talking about overall power. They will be the biggest publisher in the world. They're going to be right up there. Like it's ridiculous what they will have. It's so cool.
Yeah.
But it's completely different when they were from 5 years ago, man. 5 years ago in 2023. Think about that. Before they announced the how many studios did they have before they announced the acquisitions of City and In Exile and all those?
6?
They had what, 3, 4, 6 studios?
I think they were down to 6. Yeah.
6 studios, and with ABK they will be 35 plus, right?
Yeah. And I mean that's like if you do you count Blizzard as one studio?
Right. Or you count all those little studios in there. So
I mean,
even if you just say, whatever, just say for the sake of say 40 or whatever, like it's still like 6.5 times what they had just 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's stupid, man. That's just stupid.
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh God. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation. We have been going for nearly 3 hours now, Mav, already. It just freaking flew by. Holy shit.
And I'm being told we got to wrap up.
Okay. We got to wrap up. Okay. Boss came in and said we got to wrap up. They're not paying us overtime today. Caitlin isn't paying us overtime today,
I think I gotta hit up Outbreak Gamers. Shout out to Dave with a $2 super chat. Said so Pong is playing the final build of Starfield.
Oh God, I would, brother. I wouldn't be here. Well, I probably would be here, but I probably wouldn't be able to speak at all because that's all I want to talk about. So I'd be just like, yeah, sure, Mav, whatever you say. That's cool. I wish I was like that, man.
Yeah.
I wish I had it.
When Starfield comes out on PM and the PM, he will like
Yeah.
be playing probably and just not paying attention to what we're saying.
I'm
So
just gonna be
expect a different
staring
Pong.
at my character. Yeah, I'll probably just have my ship on autopilot in the space.
Yeah.
And just be watching it the entire time. Yeah.
Splendiferous with a $2 super chat said, "What if Xbox lock up all third party for 3 months?" Now people just
If
playing
they-
evil.
Yeah, that would be, and then somebody would go cry to the regulators and saying timed exclusivity is bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they already got some good exclusives this year that are Microsoft helped fund and stuff, right? You know, games like Stalker 2, right? That are going to be exclusive to Xbox, but that's different than
Yes,
Sony's deals,
of course.
right?
Yes,
So-
of course.
But yeah, Xbox is going to have a lot of exclusives this year, more even than their first party stuff. So it's going to be a interesting year. Different
Hell of a year.
conversation this year for sure than last. Yeah, we got to get out of here though.
Okay.
So
Okay, let's get out of here. It's been nearly 3 hours. Thank you everybody for showing up to PM and the PM. Sorry we did have another late start tonight. My apologies on that. Mav and I like to try to be consistent as much as possible, and I know a lot of people plan their times on how they're going to watch these shows, but we still had over 100 people in our chat tonight live. Appreciate every single one of you for showing up and joining in this conversation. I hope you can hear and feel the excitement from me and Mav when we talk about this stuff, because that's what it is. We appreciate you joining in on that. And if you're listening to us in the future, same love and respect to each and every single one of you. Again, you all power what Mav is trying to do here with Fun Speculation, all of the shows that he has, including this one. So thank you all, and Happy New Year to each and every single one of you. So let's get everybody out of here. Pong and Mav in the PM. It is January the 5th, 2023. Mav, welcome to the new year, brother. It feels different. The energy is different in this industry. We got a lot coming up here down the pipeline. No matter what, we're going to be talking games a lot on top of everything else. What do you got coming up for the rest of the week?
tomorrow night is Xbox Ultimate Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be live, and since I'm Steel, according to Pong, we'll be live, raw, and uncut tomorrow for Xbox Ultimate. We'll have a blast tomorrow night. Come hang out, and we'll have some fun with the panel. And then back next week, we will have FSP next week. I had a migraine on Monday. Couldn't do it. Couldn't fathom it. And then regular schedule. Hopefully get some late night game streams in sometime here. When I say late night, not as usual late night. It's school's back in session, so maybe like
Mom and Dad
8s,
gotta go to bed.
9s and stuff. But maybe some gaming time here and there. But other than that, man, I appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys freaking rock. Thank you for everything, all the support you showed. Thanks for showing up. It's awesome. You never know when you step away for a little bit. I haven't streamed really in like a week, I feel like, and it's a long time for us. But to see everybody just show up again, it's absolutely awesome. So appreciate you guys. Splendiferous did hit us with another $2 super chat. Said, I really like how we look for this year, man. Xbox fist bump. Yeah, Xbox is gonna have a good year. Gonna be a good year all around for gaming. PlayStation's gonna have an interesting year. Nintendo's gonna have, I think it's gonna be a transition year as well. I think they're declining a little bit in hardware sales.
Zelda will dominate though.
Zelda's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
I hope we get a hardware announcement. I think third party multiplats though is just gonna be like make everything strong regardless, right? So it doesn't really matter. But Pong, what about you, man? Where can everybody find your better half on Saturday and everywhere else?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Omi Tony, who just dropped in here, said he's having a hell of a time with a sick kid. Brother, we've both been there. We both understand. Good luck with that, man. It's never easy. So thank you for dropping in here at the end. Ham Solo dropping in here as well. The Sousa dropping in here. I didn't get to shout you guys out earlier as well. Tony Grasso still hanging out with us. Vik The CLiCK. All of you. Again, thank you for being here on PM and the PM. It's been a great episode. Even getting here late, we still had a lot to talk about, and obviously our excitement carried us through the entire show. So we got looking forward. 2023 is here, and I'm going to have a lot to say this year. Maybe at some point this year, I can figure out how to get a PC so I can start streaming. I'd love nothing more than to have a PC by the time Starfield comes out so I can figure out a way to stream. I'd love to do daily Starfield streams with everybody. It'd be fantastic. So we'll see if we can make that happen. But looking forward to this year nonetheless. And you can find me, Pong Soul, at Xbox Pong Soul on Twitter. Tomorrow night, I will be on Xbox Ultimate, so you can find me there where me and Mav rediscuss some topics, but we get other people's opinions involved as well on the panel, which is always a great time. So we are going to be there tomorrow night, so be there yourself. And then Saturday morning, you know what it is. Steel has set up. No, not the Steel here that you see. Steel Mav. No, Steel Rain is going to set us up for a big year on Living Split Screen. We didn't hit Mission 1K. We're nearly at 700, but Steel has raised the bar. We are going for Mission 3K. Living Split Screen every set. Yeah, he's raised it. I like it. I'm all about it. My whole career has been about hitting goals, so I'm all about it. So let's do it. Mission 3K starts this Saturday. Living Split Screen, all one word. Myself, my brother from another, Steel Rain, 3+ hours, but realistically we go 4. So just be there. 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 3 p.m. UK time. 2-man show. We have a great time Saturday mornings. Turn us on in the background while you're doing everything else that you need to do for the weekend, including, I hope, some gaming. Saturday nights, the Shop Podcast, starting off 2023 with a great guest. So the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam is the man. It's his channel. Fuzzy Belvedere is there. I'm there. And this Saturday night, we start off 2023 all the way from Australia. Doom Cutie is going to be joining us on Saturday night. So 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, and your Saturday night the right way with the Shop Podcast, PTK Blam's channel. We're going to have a great time on Saturday night. Tuesdays, I actually made an Xbox Factor podcast. If you can believe it, it's been a couple months. So you can go back last Tuesday and watch me on Xbox Factor. I thought Mav was going to be there too. I thought we were going to have the old crew back together again, but Mav couldn't do it.
That's when I was getting the bad news with the AC guy.
Yes, I know. So we missed you, but it was fun being on an Xbox Factor. Probably won't make it this week, but that doesn't matter. You got to be there. It's Boom. One of the greatest in this community. Again, the man props up so many different people. He's genuine. It's just biggest heart here. Go check out Boom, Double Barrel Gaming, Xbox Factor Podcast every Tuesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. The guy has a show 5 days a week. You got to check him out. And then, of course, Thursday, back here again for the next PM in the PM, where Mav and I are going to have more to talk about, maybe even an announcement for a showcase. Colt hinted about that on XNC as well. He didn't say 100%, but he said he will be waking up Tuesday morning next week to check for the Xbox Wire feed. So keep your eyes and ears to the ground, folks, because it is the golden age of gaming and the news is never stopping from here on out. This is it. Play what you love what you play. Have a fantastic Friday. Have an amazing weekend. And I'm going to talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here so Caitlin does not ban me from being on a show with you ever again.
Peace out, everyone. Have a good one. Bye-bye.